today to determine the severity of his hamstring injury. And the Padres are in action right now in Boston, taking on the Red Sox. Red Sox just scored 1-0 in the bottom of the third. Michael King is on the mound. If you have questions about youth or high school sports, Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA builds better athletes and better people through sports. Info at positivecoach.org.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
Well, we know that, but it's a little different now. The Padres are in Boston for the weekend. We'll keep you updated on Game 1 and react when it's over. And who will be left standing for the Natty after the Final Four tomorrow. Plus,
Cavs, -9.5, going to beat the crap out of the Warriors tonight.
What did he say? You're wrong.
Give me the Pistons and the Timberwolves under. Defensive slugfest under 223.5.
You got the moves. I'll give you that.
And the Lake Show, +9.5, going into Oklahoma City, covering the spread and maybe, just maybe, getting a win.
Tell me he didn't just say that.
It'll be a 43-point Oklahoma City blowout.
And that was the worst day of my life.
from the San Diego Sports 760 studios, we go in the zone with Fletch and Sammy.
Yeah, let's get it going on a Friday. What's happening, everybody? Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you for the next couple of hours. It is the zone. Get on in on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760. Of course, on the free iHeartRadio app, streaming anywhere in the world, and on your AM dial at AM channel 760. Welcome in. My name is Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long. If it's your first time joining us, man, we like to have fun on a Friday, talking sports, talking bets, talking pods, talking NFL. We got some draft talk coming up today. Very excited for that. And of course, talking about the Final Four, which is going to be on this radio station coming up tomorrow, starting with pregame coverage at noon with our new friend Jason Horowitz, who we had on the air with us yesterday. Awesome chatting with Jason. Had a really nice time with that interview. Today on the show, Charlie Puth tickets will be up for grabs at 1:30. Steve Hartman will be here for his weekly appointment. We will keep you up to date with what's going on out at Fenway Field in Boston. But we're going to talk plenty of other things here in the first couple hours. We're going to start with the Los Angeles Lakers. And before we start that conversation, because that will immediately put them in a pissy mood, we will open it up like this. Sam, are you ready to have a great show?
It depends on how Luka's injury comes back.
Are you ready to have a fantastic show?
We're going to try.
No matter what Luka comes back with, you could be having a crappy day, a great day, a terrible day. You need to have a great show. That's what you owe the people of San Diego.
Okay. I'm here.
This is like when the Chiefs were really stinking last year and Sammy was just pouty every Monday when he was coming into work. But yeah, if you missed it last night, the Los Angeles Lakers got boot stomped by the Oklahoma City Thunder. I do have some thoughts on that game, but we could start with the Luka injury. It happened in the third quarter. He was kind of driving to the left, and you could tell it was like he was gearing up for one of his very Luka-esque plays where he makes it in the paint, kind of winding and weaving his way to the basket, and he just pulls up short and stopped immediately and grabbed that kind of back right under your left butt cheek and grabbed onto his thigh, and you knew something was off. And then he was on the ground for a while. When he finally did get up, face goes underneath the jersey. There was a scream that you could actually hear picked up on camera, and Luka had to make his way to the locker room. He did walk himself off, but it was a very gingerly walk, man. He was limping the entire way back. So we've all been waiting, and I would assume the MRI has already been done. I would assume this was first thing this morning, the MRI got done on Luka Doncic. But from the reading that I've done, if it is a grade 3 hamstring strain, this is going to be a 4-week injury. Problem with that, playoffs start in 2 weeks. The play-in tournament will begin on April 14th. So for the Lakers, who have been surging, winning a ton of basketball games over the last couple of months, with Luka and Austin and LeBron all playing really well together over the last month or so, Lakers all of a sudden put themselves into a different type of conversation. It was no longer just a team that maybe once LeBron leaves, they can figure something out. No, this was a team that was considered one of the powers in the West. I think that OKC heard a little bit of that talk, and OKC decided to flip off the cruise control button that they've been on for a lot of the season. And OKC in the locker room last night decided we're going to show why they should not be in the same conversation as us. And from the opening tip, long before the Luka injury, this game was dominated by Oklahoma City. This felt like the first time we've seen that Oklahoma City team that went and won the championship a year ago come out in full force this year, and it wasn't even close. From the opening tip to the final buzzer to everything that happened in between, OKC was far and away the better team on the basketball court last night, and it wasn't even close.
Pathetic. lifeless, embarrassing.
You didn't know Sammy's a Lakers fan.
I don't even. There's not even anything to say. I mean, when you get beat by that much, and Reeves had 3 turnovers in the first 2 minutes of the game. It was 16-4, 2 minutes into the game. 2 minutes into the game, they had a double-digit lead. I mean, that was. They got destroyed. I've never seen a basketball game, even in blowouts, usually for at least a little bit of the game, either 6 minutes, a quarter, it's close. The Lakers were dominant in every single aspect of the game. It was embarrassing. And in a game where we were talking about it yesterday, right? The Lakers were trying to prove they belonged because there were a lot of naysayers over the 15-2 month. It's like, yeah, you're beating Houston, Minnesota, and Denver, all the middle pack of the West, but are you in that conversation with the Spurs and the Celtics and obviously the Thunder? And the answer is clearly not. They're not even in that realm. And they had everything to prove. And to what you said about they flipped off the cruise control and with Oklahoma City was waiting on that game. You could tell that they wanted to prove that SGA was the MVP, not Luka Doncic. They wanted to prove that the Lakers had no business being on the same floor with them. And they just, I mean, every single facet of the game, they got dominated in, and something that's a concern for the Lakers besides, I mean, obviously if Luka's not there, they're going to get beat in the first round, but we'll see if Luka's going to be there. Also Reeves dealing with the back injury, but the Lakers during this run have been playing a lot of zone defense, and that works a lot in the regular season because you're going up against teams that don't necessarily have great shooters, and the Lakers just have more offensive skill than 90% of the league in the NBA. But then when you play a team like the Thunder, who have guys like Lou Dort and Cason Wallace and Alex Caruso and just bench players that don't even make the headlines because SGA, Chet, and Jalen Williams all steal them. Then when you're playing a zone, I mean, Lou Dort was crushing them all night, destroying them in the corner, leaving them wide open because they just shift everything to SGA. The defense got exposed, and it was very disappointing. I mean, there's no way to cut that game. The Lakers didn't even look like they belonged, and it's a bummer.
We'll talk about it more coming up later on the show today, probably with Steve Hartman when he joins us at 1:30. But it's interesting to me. I'm actually really excited for the Eastern Conference playoffs. I think you got a lot of parity in the Eastern Conference. So you have a lot of really good young teams. I think it's going to be awesome. Western Conference, I don't have as much hope for because I do think if that's the Oklahoma City Thunder team that we see the rest of the way and into the postseason, they can just kind of run through. And maybe the Spurs are probably the biggest competition in the West as far as people think right now for Oklahoma City. When I look at the West, I do see Houston. I think they had their shot last year, and I think that the moves that they've made, they don't look as good anymore, and I don't know what their future is going to look like. The Spurs, I can very clearly see the future where the way they've been building things around Victor Wembanyama, if he's able to stay healthy, probably put on 20 pounds between now and 2 years from now, I can see the future for the Spurs. The Lakers, I have very big question marks around because I think OKC, what we're seeing right now, we're going to see for the next few years, and it's everybody else trying to catch up to what they are. Like the Spurs, you could see that happening. With the Lakers, even if you move on from LeBron right now, which all looks like it's going to happen this offseason, you have $50 million to spend. We realize they have to hit home runs with whoever they bring in on that salary that you're missing out on from LeBron. And I just don't know that you can because you need to add a big man who's physical and who can score. You need to add somebody who's going to play some defense and be a lockdown defender who can also score. This needs to be like the best job the Lakers have ever done in free agency to make them even in the same conversation as OKC moving forward. And I don't know if they can do it.
Well, you see the Thunder have, again, Caruso, Dort, and Cason Wallace, all elite on-ball defenders. All of them are some of the best in the league. And the Lakers don't have that. Marcus Smart didn't play last night, but that's like the Lakers' best on-ball defender besides Jared Vanderbilt. And Jared Vanderbilt has massive limitations offensively. So in the offseason, the Lakers have to attack. Peyton Watson from Denver would be a big add. The front court, you have to go get a dominant center because as we saw yesterday, I mean, the whole team disappeared, but DeAndre Ayton, once again, when you step up in competition, disappears. So, I mean, they got blitzed last night. If they're healthy, I do still think the Lakers win a round, but what last night showed is they are not on that level. And yeah, I mean, they have to retool this whole thing in the offseason if you want to compete with the Spurs, if you want to compete with Oklahoma City, because those teams' depth.
Otherwise, you're just going to turn into Dallas, what they were. when
Right,
Luka was at his
every
best.
team, they have so much more depth than everyone. The Lakers are top heavy, and it shows when you play a team that has the amount of depth that Oklahoma City
Well,
has.
and the ceiling for the Mavs when Luka was on that team was you can reach a final, you're not going to win a final, right? And it's because they didn't have enough around him. So moving forward for the Lakers, it's pretty important to understand, like, yeah, you'll have Luka, maybe Reeves if he doesn't get traded, but probably Reeves moving forward. But then what? And that's what the Lakers need to retool. All right, text line is open, 70470. Start your message with team. YouTube chat is open as well at San Diego Sports 760. Would love to get a little subscription there from you as well. Let's get to the big three here of hour number one, where Sammy Long rips through the top stories in the world of sports. Sammy, smash.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
Saw something interesting earlier today, actually, Sammy. It was Fernando Tatis Jr. before the game saying he'd never played at Wrigley Field. Or not at Wrigley, sorry, at Fenway Park.
Really?
Which kind of find hard to believe. If the Padres
he was hurt?
Maybe hurt and suspension. But yeah, I mean, I think today might be the only time he's ever played at Fenway Park. Kind of fascinating. Good luck, Nando.
Good luck. Haven't done a lot so far.
I know. Well, he got all of one. It just with warning track. I can't believe that this is the first year that Fenway Park has ever had Monster Energy sponsoring the Big Green Monster out in left field. That's how has that not been a thing forever? Where would you like to go, Sammy?
All right, let's go to, we're going to hit the Final Four again here coming up at 12:30, but Final Four starts tomorrow. Question is this. I mean, we're focusing on Arizona, Michigan, rightfully so. Those two teams were some of the best all season long, and everyone kind of had that matchup penciled in when the bracket came out. But are we not giving UConn and Illinois enough respect? Because I feel like everyone's talking about Arizona, Michigan, and everyone's just kind of talking about this Illinois-UConn game as the winners of sacrificial lamb, and I don't think that that's right.
It might not be right. Look, I think the national championship is going to be a good game. UConn and Illinois both have a lot to offer. I do think Arizona and Michigan are clearly a step above. That's just me. And I think that that's the national perception. I don't think it's wrong. But here's what UConn has specifically, maybe over all three of the other teams. I do think UConn has the best head coach in the field. And I think Dan Hurley I can't stand the guy. But obviously, he's doing something different than everybody else in college basketball. There's an argument to be made. Over the last 6 years, he's been the best coach in college basketball, period. Like, you think about the first two teams he took to a national championship, they were stacked. This year's team that's made it to a Final Four, it's a different story, man. UConn wasn't supposed to get this far. It's been great head coaching and players all playing for him. Say what you will about Dan Hurley. Everyone on that team for sure is embodying Dan Hurley the entire time. So I think having the best head coach in college basketball does make a massive difference. So that's the only thing I would give UConn over the other three teams in the field. But I think Illinois is nasty, man. I think they're really good. So it's going to be a good national championship. I just do have whoever wins Michigan, Arizona winning the whole thing.
It's going to be I think they are being disrespected. I agree with you that obviously that's the matchup on paper that everyone looks at. And rightfully so. They have been two of the best teams all season. People looked at Duke, but obviously Duke's not playing this weekend. There is something to be said, though, and we're obviously going to be talking about the game most of the day on Monday, the national championship game. But when you play a game, we've seen this a lot sometimes. When you play a game in Arizona, Michigan that people are billing as the, quote, real national championship game, on a 2-day flip, 2 days later, there's got to be a little bit of a letdown, even if it's the national championship game. And UConn is kind of playing with house money if you think about it. UConn of that bracket, everyone had Duke coming out, or Michigan State as an upset pick, or St. John's, or Kansas was limited. UConn was kind of funny for being the number 2 seed, kind of disrespecting that region. People are like, this isn't the same UConn team that people have seen before. They're playing with house money. I mean, he won back-to-back titles a few years ago, and now he's in another Final Four. Illinois is kind of, in a way, playing with house money. Not that they've won recently, but not a ton of people expected Illinois to be here because of Houston in that bracket in Florida. And the other side's like Arizona hasn't won since 97. Michigan hasn't won in a long time. Like, these teams for the NIL collective that Arizona and Michigan has thrown out there, there's a lot of pressure on that side of the bracket. And I'm excited. I think we're going to get some great games tomorrow. All right, let's head to Augusta next week. We're all extremely excited. You had the stat, I believe. Tiger's obviously not playing in this, in the Masters. And Phil Mickelson will not be playing due to a family matter. Fletch, it's what, the first time since 94? Neither of them are playing?
Since 1994, at least either Tiger or Phil has played in every Masters since then. Now, what's crazy about that is that's 2 years before Scotty Scheffler was born. Rory McIlroy was like 3 years old in 1994. So when you think about an entire generation has gone by since we've last seen Augusta without either Tiger or Phil in it. And it's kind of wild, man. It's sort of like you look at the NFL now and Aaron Rodgers is the last one hanging on from that era of quarterbacks we had. It kind of feels like golf is getting there too. Now, the Masters is different. We're going to see Tiger and Phil at plenty of Masters in the future. They're going to be able to play literally until they can't walk if they would like to do so. But it is a weird little moment in time where neither Tiger or Phil are going to be there. And this is a real opportunity for the players who I've been watching, and I'm seeing golf right now. I think golf is the healthiest it's ever been. Maybe not in terms of numbers or revenue, but in terms of talent, this is as good as it's gotten. And maybe we see a new star born next week in Augusta, because that's where stars are born.
I'm totally with you on this. Like, I get the fact that the casual fan may tune in for Phil and Tiger. I understand that the people that aren't watching the PGA Tour every weekend. But to your point, there are so many great golfers out there that isn't just Scotty. It isn't just Rory. And the fact that we kind of get to make a star born. I mean, JJ Spawn was outside of golf heads, probably not too known until he won the Open last year. Now all of a sudden, JJ Spawn is a champion, a major champion. I'm excited that because it does feel like Tiger and Phil sometimes, even though they're not one of the top golfers anymore, takes away from some of the actual top golfers because the cameras want to follow them. People are interested in seeing how those guys are playing. I'm with you. I'm excited. I think this Masters field is stacked. Some of the live guys back now. And I can't wait for Augusta next week. And hopefully it lives up to Rory and DeChambeau and Rory and Justin Rose last year on Sunday.
I think it has an opportunity to be even better, because last year around this time, like, John Rahm wasn't playing very good golf when they got to the Masters. And so really it was a limited number of guys who you could envision on the final day on Sunday. This year, I mean, I got a list of 10 dudes I could see easily being in contention on Sunday. And there's probably another 5 that I'm not thinking of who will be, because the Masters always just brings them out of the woodworks. I think it's going to be an incredible tournament. One of maybe potentially has an all-timer feel to it. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Coming up on the other side, NFL draft. Latest mock drafts are in, and we got a question. What team this year has the opportunity to improve the most from a year ago based solely on this year's draft? We'll get into it on the other side. It's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. If you're curious about how things are going around Major League Baseball, tons of day games in action on a Friday, which I always love about baseball season, man. It kind of goes all day on Friday. Dodgers offense has come to life. 12-4 Dodgers in the bottom of the 7th. They're playing against Washington. Shohei, Freeman, Betts all have home runs in today's game. Padres are down 2-0 to the Red Sox, bottom of the 4th. All right, NFL draft coming up soon, man. April's right around the corner. Here we go.
April's here.
April is here. We're in April. Golly, this week has messed me up.
No, there's been a lot happening this week.
This has been a weird week. But April is here. So we are weeks away from the NFL draft. And you start to look at it, and new mock drafts are coming in like every day. The one I trust is Daniel Jeremiah. I know Sammy goes nuts for Mr. Kiper, and that's okay. Sammy might be Mel Kiper Jr. spawn. But when you look at the NFL draft this year, I kind of ask myself the question going into it. If you're looking at this as partially as possible, who are the teams that can take the biggest step based on just the guys who are going to be drafted? For me, the answer is kind of obvious. But if we want, let's run through the latest mock draft from Daniel Jeremiah. No surprise there. Fernando Mendoza at 1 to the Raiders. Avril Reese at 2, the Ohio State edge rusher to the New York Jets. Francis Moyoga. How do you say his name?
Mayaga from Miami, right tackle.
Exactly, the offensive lineman. Jeremiah Love, the superstar running back from Notre Dame, to the Tennessee Titans at 4. Sonny Styles, the linebacker from Ohio State, at 5 to the New York Giants. So the question I ask myself, who is going to get the most improved based on this year's draft? Or who has the best opportunity to improve? I got an obvious answer in my head. Sammy, do you have one that you've been wrestling around?
I don't think this team is going to be elite next year, but there's 5 teams that have, I'm trying to pull them up right here, that have multiple first round picks. Cowboys, Browns, Jets, Dolphins, and then now the Chiefs, because it used to be the Rams, then the Chiefs took their pick with the McDuffie deal. The Miami Dolphins are an interesting team. And do I think Miami's going to be good next year? Not necessarily. But I am kind of excited that if you're a Dolphin fan and in that division, because I think the Bills are going to be good. Anytime you have Josh Allen, you're going to be towards the top of the division in the playoff conversation. I personally really think New England's falling back down to earth. I'm not saying they're going to be awful, but when we look at that playoff run and beating the Chargers, holding them to 3 points, the entire Texans offense hurt, Bo Nix not playing in the AFC title game.
And the regular season was the easiest schedule in like a quarter decade.
Right. And then you, of course,
quarter
have the Jets.
Century.
Miami getting Malik Willis. It's a small sample size. We don't know what we're getting, but he did look decent when he had his, was playing in Green Bay. Now Halfley's there in Miami. You got Achane. They kind of moved off some of their old contracts, Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, picking up multiple picks for Jalen Waddle. Like, I'm kind of excited for what Miami does. And I think Miami has a chance to dictate the draft because of where they're picking high. And they have so many holes on the offense and defensive end. Whereas, like, we know where certain teams are looking for. Like, we know the Cowboys are looking defense. We know that the Bengals are looking defense. The Miami Dolphins, we don't really know where they're going, and they're kind of a pivot point in mock drafts because they have multiple picks and they could really swing the board for different teams.
For me, it's the Dallas Cowboys. And I think a lot hinges on this draft for the Dallas Cowboys, because you think about what they did with Micah Parsons, moving off of him last offseason and sending him over to the Green Bay Packers. That was putting a lot on this year's draft because they still have the Packers first round draft pick. They have their own first round draft pick. You would imagine with the offense that they have, they're probably going defense the first round. And you would also imagine one of those defensive pieces is kind of the quote unquote replacement for Micah Parsons. Not saying he's in this draft or you can get a guy like Micah Parsons. Where'd they get him? They got him at 11 right? Back in the day.
He was the first defensive player off the board that year, remember?
Which is crazy that he fell that far, but there was some off the field stuff they were worried about with Micah Parsons. None of it really has turned out to be true. But when you look at what the Cowboys have an opportunity to do this year, this might not be a great quarterback draft. This is an insane wide receiver draft, which is why we're seeing the Ohio State kid and the USC kid both going in the first round.
Lemon and tape.
This is an amazing defensive edge draft. And I think the Cowboys, what do they have, 13 and 20 something?
Yeah, 13 and 20, I believe.
So 13 and 20, whether they go edge with the first one, corner with the second one, corner with the first, edge with the second, they have an opportunity to really beef up the defensive side of the football right now and maybe fast forward on the little mini rebuild they've been doing on the defensive side since Micah Parsons has left. Not to mention they got a couple pieces for their defense last year during the regular
Quinn
season.
Williams, 100%. I'm with you on the Cowboys because look at the division. You have the Eagles who have a super talented roster, but we're hearing the stuff about Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, the Eagles seem lost right now.
AJ Brown, is he going to be there? Are they going to flip him before draft day? And then you have the Giants, who are an upstart team with Dart and Scattaboo and Neighbors, and now John Harbaugh is there. So you think the Giants are going to be much better, and they have a great pass rush. And then everyone kind of forgot about Washington. Like, Washington doesn't necessarily have the best roster around it, but Jaden Daniels, Jaden Daniels is going to have something to say because Jaden Daniels was the supposed star of that class. He has a bit of a down year because the team has a down year and he's injured. We're all hearing about Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, Drake May. Jaden Daniels going to come back with a vengeance. So that leaves Dallas Cowboys, to your point about how crucial this draft is to hit defensively, because you have young quarterbacks in Dart, Daniels, and then we'll see with Hurts in that division. And you feel like that division could be a lot more up for grabs than maybe we've thought the last couple of years with the Eagles' dominance.
Now, Jerry's been good at drafting stars over his career. He hasn't been great at drafting role players, and that would be the challenge to him this draft is you need role players.
Where you got to find the middle round guys.
You got to find some good ones, and we'll see if he can do it. But I think the Cowboys absolutely have an opportunity to press fast forward on some plans and maybe capitalize on the last couple of years of Dak Prescott as Dak Prescott. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Quick break here. Final Four talk on the other side. We are 24 hours away from coverage beginning here on San Diego Sports 760 of the best weekend in college basketball. That's next, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This sport is sponsored by Unbound.org. Padres currently in the top of the fifth inning, and it's 2-1 Red Sox. In the Final Four tomorrow, we got coverage beginning at 12 o'clock, and Illinois and UConn get going at 3:09. Illinois is a slight 1.5 point favorite despite being the 3 seed, with UConn being the 2. Point total set at 139.5. And then the night game coming on after that around 5:50. Michigan, Arizona. Michigan is a slight favorite in that one at -1.5. The point total is a big 157.5 in that game. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your sport can go at unbound.org.
SDFC back in action tomorrow night. They go on the road. They got San Jose pregame with Darren Smith and Adrian Garcia Marquez beginning at 7 o'clock right here on your home for SDFC, San Diego Sports 760. My name is Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long. This is The Zone, noon to 2 every single day. Right after that, Sammy keeps it for an extra hour from 2 to 3, going long with Sammy. And then from 3 to 6, your drive home, highlighted by the sweet, sultry sounds of John Schaefer and Alan Sliwa on our brand new drive time show, Schaefer and Sliwa. They've been doing some good stuff over the last couple of days. Check them out if you haven't already. All right, right now I do want to talk some Final Four and the teams that are going to be playing. We make some picks later in the show maybe, but really I think the side story of all of this is there's an opportunity happening in this Final Four, and I'm not sure I like it personally, but I do think it's a conversation that needs to be had at this point in time. And that is Dan Hurley the best coach in college basketball? I mean, I think it's a fair question at this point, don't you? Dan Hurley has had pretty unprecedented success over the last 5 years with the UConn Huskies. Of course, we know that firsthand here in San Diego. We were part of that buzzsaw that ripped through the entire NCAA tournament back in 2022 when they beat everybody by 20 plus points, and they beat the Aztecs in the national championship game. And then they followed it up a year later by taking down Purdue and Zach Edey in the national championship game. Like that Purdue run or that UConn run of 2 years was incredible. And that was kind of the introduction to Dan Hurley. Well, what he's done this year is taken a lesser roster and kind of dominated this NCAA tournament too. Of course, they have the big highlight win, but Dan Hurley is starting to make some real noise, as he should be in that conversation with the Bill Self of Kansas, with Tom Izzo at Michigan State, Mark Few at Gonzaga. I would throw Brian Dutcher on the list, but most people wouldn't. Kelvin Sampson at Houston. Like, Dan Hurley not only is on that list, but I would argue is the front runner on that list as of right now, which again, love him or hate him, I think Dan Hurley in the NIL era of college basketball is probably the best head coach in the country right now.
I agree. I mean, well, especially if he wins it this year,
of course,
then 3 championships in 4 years, and how hard it is to win.
If he wins it this year, you start to have to start talking about Roy Williams and Coach K.
Right. All timers, because I mean, you talk about, it is so hard to win a college basketball championship. I mean, you've seen for years, Kentucky has been a prime example of, you can have all the NBA draft prospects in the world, and it doesn't matter when you get in the tournament. And we've seen, I mean, Arizona, think of Arizona in the historic program that the Wildcats have had all these years. It feels like every year they're a 1 or a 2 or a 3 seed. They haven't won since 97. I mean, it just shows you how hard that is. And, you know, UConn has been amazing. And even this year, like, they don't have a ton of NBA talent. Solo Ball, Terrace Reed Jr., Mullins, who hit the shot, Caravan. This is kind of more of a...
Mullins, by the way, a true freshman.
True freshman. This is kind of more of a collective. This might be his most impressive job, because I'm not taking anything away from him, but he had Stephon Castle, superstar in the NBA. Donovan Clingan, pretty good player in the NBA. There were like multiple NBA players, really good NBA players on those teams. Again, not taking anything away from Dan Hurley, but you win with this one with a team that people kind of thought was a down UConn team, a team that got smacked by St. John's a few weeks before the tournament started. And I think the UConn aspect, a lot has been made of. I mean, love to hear you send us a talk back. Love to hear from you guys. What do you guys, are you interested in these games tomorrow? Because as I'm getting closer, I'm very excited, because I think it's just 2 great basketball games. But a lot has been made about there's no Cinderella. If you're not a fan of one of these schools, why would you care? But the hate watch aspect of UConn, I think, is a point. Like, people don't like Dan Hurley. People don't like UConn unless you are a UConn fan. I think that adds an element to just, hey, there's 4 teams in the Final Four, and they're all, quote, the 4 best teams in the tournament.
I really don't know if I see the lack of a Cinderella here the same way, because usually this is kind of how the Final Four looks. It's rare that we get a Final Four without a 1 seed. This year we have 2. But it's not like last year where it was all 4 1 seeds. You have a 2, a 3, and 2 1s. And I don't necessarily think that any of the 4 teams who are left are the traditional powers. Like, it's not a Kansas, a Kentucky, a Duke, a North Carolina, even Syracuse back in the day. No, it's Michigan, Arizona, who's been a power in college basketball forever, but like you said, hasn't won since '97. UConn, who the women's team has been the most dominant force in college athletics for a long time, but UConn men, you had the run with Kemba Walker, and then this last run of 5 years with Dan Hurley at the helm of it.
They'd be considered a blue blood now, though.
For sure, but it's not the traditional teams in college basketball that would dominate year in and year out. Like, I would say my growing up, my childhood was a worse case of just having the same teams over and over again than it is now. Like, it's Michigan, man. Michigan's never necessarily been a power in college basketball. They've been really good in college basketball, but outside of the Fab 5 years with Coach Fisher, they wouldn't be considered necessarily a power. So I think what we have this year is actually kind of fun and refreshing with these teams, and I'm pumped for the games tomorrow. I don't know that any college basketball fan is standing here like saying, "Oh man, I wish High Point made it all the way to the Final Four." Like, I don't think that's nearly as fun this year.
Well, to your point about Cinderellas are fun. And they're really fun the first weekend when we're seeing 14 seeds win, or a 15 seed, or seeing a couple 16 seeds now. But those teams always get found out. Even that St. Peter's team that was a 15, I believe they beat Kentucky in the first game, who was a 2. They went all the way to the Elite 8, and then they got smacked. And it was an amazing run. I mean, they beat some really damn good basketball teams on the way there, but eventually it runs out. But I think off the jump, it was like, well, if you're not a fan of one of these schools, do you care enough? But I do think that now we're here. Like, look at the spreads. I read off my update. Illinois is a 1.5 point favorite, so it's basically a pick'em game. Michigan's a 1.5 point favorite, essentially a pick'em game. When you have Cinderellas that get to the Final Four, although it's a fun story, usually, like, I don't want to see a 13 point spread in a Final Four game. I want to see Arizona, Michigan, where it's basically a pick'em. And I mean, half our audience could think Arizona's going to win, half could make a case for Michigan, and you're viable like that. Illinois and UConn are the same way. So it is fun that I do think we're going to get some excellent basketball tomorrow, even though there isn't a storyline that everyone's like, oh, I'm pulling for High Point. Or
I think the storyline is you're rooting against Dan Hurley for the most part.
I think
right?
that will draw.
I do too. I think that's huge. When you think about like greatest Cinderella runs of all time, the 2008 Steph Curry, the Davidson team, because they beat Gonzaga, Georgetown when Georgetown was a power, and somebody else. I can't remember the other team they beat, but they made it to the Elite 8, fizzled out in the Elite 8. So you think about what Cinderella really means, like that's already done and dead by this conversation anyways. I think this is a wildly entertaining Final Four, and you're going to hear every second of it here on San Diego Sports 760 starting tomorrow at noon. All right, because I know this is what people come to this station now for me talking about the moon. Have you been seeing what's been going on with our astronauts, Sammy?
Them sending messages back?
Today's a bad day for the flat earthers is all I'm saying, because the pictures have come back. They have taken pictures of the earth, which is indeed round.
Can I say something?
Please do.
There's some people in this building that I've thought were smart people.
Oh, the moon landing deniers?
Yeah, well, there's some people in this building that are hardcore flat earthers, moon landing. I was like, I'm sorry, you did how many years of college?
By the way, people who make a lot more money than us, Sammy. So maybe they have access to some information that we don't have. Look, I love a good conspiracy theory. I'm all about it. And I will say the not landing on the moon one has some of the best evidence of any conspiracy theories.
What's your favorite conspiracy theory?
I'd be hard pressed not to say that one. I do think it's fun to get in that conversation with someone and just play the game as if we never landed on the moon. But here's the thing. In 2 days, those people all get shut up too, because the astronauts who are going right now are going to be able to zoom in on the literal footprints left by not Lance Armstrong, Neil Armstrong, when he walked on the moon.
I just think it's funny when people die on a hill of like, the moon landing was fake. It's like, what does that get you?
But
Like,
the flat Earth thing has been debunked a million times now. But did you see? It was like last year. The guy spent $35,000 to take an entire team out to Antarctica to watch the sun set in Antarctica, which at the time of year it was should physically be impossible because the Earth is round, and in Antarctica the sun wouldn't set; it would just go around in a circle because of the direction it's facing. And so at the end of the 24-hour live YouTube stream that he posted, he looked directly into the camera and said, "I've dedicated my entire life to the fact that Earth is flat, and I was wrong." He admitted it to the camera.
right, where do you even go from there?
You just spent 35 grand on proving yourself wrong. I don't know what you do after that.
Well, also my thing with that is like, let's just say you find out that the Earth's flat. Like, let's play that game for a second. Like, let's say you spent your whole life doing that. What? Okay, cool. Like, I don't like where do you go? Is it going to be fame and fortune forever?
Lots of money in proving the Earth flat. We got any flat earthers in the audience? I'd love to hear from you today. 70470. Start your message with team. Love to hear from you
any
today.
Kyrie Irvings?
It's a bad day for them today. I've got to be honest. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Rough night last night, and we can't really put it on Luka's injury. We just got to put it on the fact that the Lakers got completely outclassed by the Oklahoma City Thunder. Is that it? Are we done betting Lakers now forever?
No.
We all had faith in Sammy. We all wrote
because I had won 3 straight Laker bets before that. I deserve a little grace with one horrible pick that did not come through.
We got the weekend edition of Long Shots coming up next. It's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. It's the zone. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. Sammy's going to keep it going then from 2 to 3, going along with Sammy. And then John Schaefer and Alan Sleewell will take over right after that. We got Steve Hartman coming up at 1:30 today. Stay tuned if you want to win those Charlie Puth tickets. Those are coming up in hour number 2. The update on the Padres have gotten to the 6th inning. It's 2-2 tied up. Gavin Sheets with a nice little timely base hit, which has been missing for the Padres quite a bit early in the season. But a nice timely base hit got the Padres back on the board. All right, this is the time of day where we do something called long shots, where Sammy builds out a combination of sorts that can make you some money. Usually Fridays are my favorite long shots because it incorporates a little something of everything that's going on. We got tons of baseball action. We got great NBA games. Lakers are playing Dallas this weekend? Is that right?
Sunday.
We got
Lakers are frustrating me right now. They're not going to be involved with this.
Okay. But we just have a lot to choose from. There's some fights going down this weekend. I believe Deontay Wilder, who's saying some wild things.
Please go watch that clip. I tried to convince Fletch to play it on the radio today, but Fletch made a executive decision that it might be our last time on air if we played it. I think I edited it, so I think it's actually fine.
There's just some key descriptions going on.
Yeah, I think just if we have a disclaimer, it's 21 plus. This is after hours Fletch and Sammy.
Go directly against the FCC compliance training that we have to take on an annual basis. Like within the first 5 seconds, there's an FCC violation.
Yeah, but they're not listening.
They actually are. Believe it or not, they're always kind of listening. Hello, Mr. FCC. Hope your day is going well. Have a great weekend. If you want to make some money, this is what Sammy does for us. So failure last night, but it was the bounce or the one. What do you call it?
It's a setback for the comeback.
Setback for the comeback. And today we're all going to make a lot of money. So here we go, Sammy. Go ahead, smash it.
You looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money, you don't even know it.
Time to take a chance
Say that man, his man.
with long shots.
Don't worry, everybody. I already put $10 on the Niners to win the Super Bowl and $20 on Brock Purdy to win MVP.
Are you getting excited because Rams are having some rehab issues and the Seahawks are losing all their players?
You know, things are looking up. I think this is the year.
The division is going to be interesting.
Here's the thing. If you win on this lineup, I'm taking some of the profit and doubling down on the Niners to win the Super Bowl. I will do that every time you win from now until the Super Bowl.
I last night, because the Lakers sold, I was very frustrated, just not only for my bank account, but also just as a fan. Went to the blackjack table.
And?
Made a little money last night. Made a little 200.
How about it?
Made a little solid 200, like 12 a.m. So
yeah.
we had to do it, you know.
God, I was asleep for 3.5 hours by 12 a.m.
I watched the end of the game, and then I was like, you know what? We're going to the tables. This is ridiculous. And then free bet blackjack. Solid.
You know, free bet blackjack, it can either get real hot or real bad.
Are you like the push on 22?
I mean, I hate that rule. It's the worst rule in the entire casino, but that's the casino's way to swing the odds back in their favor, because free bet blackjack, if you don't know, it's free splits, free doubles.
Right. Which is nice.
Which is really nice if you're on a hot streak.
Do you, before we get to long shots, because everyone's waiting for it, but do you throw a little money on those side bets, like push 22, pot of gold, stuff like that?
No, I like to call those sucker bets. Now, pot of gold, I've been at a table where someone got the 500 to 1 odds on the pot of gold.
How much do they have on it?
$5. So what is that?
2,500?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, my.
It wasn't one of my friends, but it was a crazy moment. The pot of gold one's fun. But I don't know. I like standard double deck blackjack.
Yeah.
Give me that all day long. Because on all the other ones, they can get up to like 6-10 decks. So you're getting like 6 aces dealt out, 6 10s dealt out in a row. It's crazy.
It's also harder to count cards.
Well, it's impossible when it gets that many decks. Yeah. I also don't know how to count cards.
No, me either. But all right, let's get the game. Let's make the people some money. So you don't have to go to the casino and try to win it that way. We can win it with sports gambling, take some of those profits, and then we're gonna go to the casino. We're in the Final Four. Illinois, UConn. Now, I like the over in this game, over 139.5. And I know it's hard when we take a look at this team because UConn played a terrible 30 minutes of basketball, but they played an excellent 10 minutes. So it's kind of hard for me to handicap this game on terms of who's going to win. I kind of would lean Illinois, but I don't feel good either way because also Illinois has never been on the stage. And as you were mentioning earlier, Dan Hurley is the best head coach left in this field. Here's why I like the over 139.5. The UConn Huskies, in the entire of every college, rank 306th in going to the free throw line.
Out of like 330, whatever.
Yeah. And they also put teams on the line, the amount of fouls, the amount of free throws they give up, 307th. Okay. So this team, basically, UConn is a very solid basketball team, but they foul a lot and they put teams at the free throw line. Now, Illinois is 14th in this, so they actually don't foul a lot, but they are one of the most efficient offenses in the country. The defense has been excellent the last couple weeks. Keaton Wagler is the star for this team. But looking at UConn, I think Solo Ball steps up. He's been averaging 8 to 9 points per game through this tournament. He has kind of been the one guy on the inside out. Against Kansas and Duke earlier this year, he had 17 and 19 points. But Terrace Reed Jr., you got Mullins, of course, the hero. Caravan's been here before. I like the over in the game at 139.5 because this is a lower number. And I like the fact that UConn is probably going to have to slow this game down and with the amount of fouls that they give. And I think Illinois gets back to being one of the most efficient offenses in the country. Because per KenPom, I believe they are the number one offense in the country.
So you're banking on the fact that this game gets played in the 70s.
Yes. I think this game is in the 70s, and it's going to slow down. Again, don't worry at half if this game is in the early 30s.
Okay.
I think it's going over. I think the stars for UConn are going to show up, and Illinois' offense is too good. I don't think their defense is going to be able to hold down this UConn team. So I like over 139.5. There's going to be a lot of free throws slowing the clock down.
I'm with you, and I like this pick, I think. Historically, this is a bad bet. Historically, overs in the Final Four do terribly.
Right, because kids are nervous, all this stuff.
Uh-huh.
But that's why we don't just go with historic numbers.
All right.
We go with picks with hundreds.
All right.
Over 139.5. All right, Arizona, Michigan. I'm surprised Arizona's a dog in this game.
Same. I
really am. Now, Michigan deserves a lot of respect. Jackson Lindeborg has been fantastic. This is one of the best front courts, if not the best front court in the country. They play excellent defense, only give about 70 points per game. They average almost 88 points per game. Give me Arizona plus 1.5 and take them on the money line.
I'm not doing it. I'm going the other way.
Okay. Well, the Wildcats are winning this game. Tommy Lloyd just got a 5-year contract, actually turned down more money from UNC to stay. This is Arizona's time. They've been the best team in the league all year. If you remember, they started, 20-0 before they lost to Kansas on that weird Monday night game, big Monday game where Darren Peterson didn't play. This team has legit 3 NBA lottery picks on it. Brandon Burries has been fantastic. Jaden Bradley hit some big shots in the Big 12 tournament there. I just think this team is the best team in the country. In Michigan, the one problem they have, they do not shoot the 3 ball tremendously well. And the fact that Arizona's front court, I think, is going to be able to offset some of the advantages that Michigan has had throughout the tournament with the front court. I like Arizona. Take them on the money line, plus 1.5. I think they get the W.
By the way, what Salmon just told you is the entire game, Michigan and Arizona. If Michigan's making their threes, Michigan walks out winning by 15 points. I'm convinced of that. But if Michigan holds true to what they've done for the majority of the season, this is going to be a very, very close game. I see this. This is a one-possession game at the end, most likely.
I agree. All right, we're heading to the fight world. Deontay Wilder, Derek Chisora. Now, a lot surrounding the fight.
Dude,
again, please go to Barstool Sports and look up that clip. It's fascinating. Please, no one under 21 should be allowed to hear that.
Just go straight to the BBC, the British Broadcasting Network.
Yeah, BBC
channel.
Deontay Wilder and Derek Chisora. Now, 2 veterans of the boxing game. Derek Chisora, they call him War Chisora, was one of the legends of British boxing. He's kind of been in against everyone. Tyson Fury, now in against Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder was supposed to be the next great American heavyweight, and he had those wars against Tyson Fury, the 3 fights there. The first fight was amazing when he put Fury down twice. It was a draw. Fury pummeled him in the second fight, and in the third fight, there were 5 total knockdowns between Fury and Wilder. Here's the problem. Wilder has one of the greatest right hands, and this is not hyperbole, in boxing history. His straight right hand is lethal and has been able to turn most fighters' lights out, but he is not a very good boxer. He's tried to utilize his jab in recent years, but he's slow, and he runs out of gas because of his age now. If he does not land the shot within the first 3 rounds, he's gone. Chisora, at his age, I don't think has the power to get after Wilder, so I like the over 7.5 rounds here. People think because the Bronze Bomber, it's going to be a knockout. Chisora is one of these guys that does not go down. He has been in against everyone. And Wilder, he's on his last legs. Joseph Parker and some of these guys have been able to knock him out in recent fights, or that one with the distance. But Wilder has lost by KO a few times, but this has been our younger fighters who have been able to get inside on him. Derek Chisora at this age of his career, I don't think is going to be able to do that. I like the over 7.5 rounds here. This fight's going the distance despite the heavyweight nature of it. All right, that fight's going the distance, over 7.5 rounds. I like Arizona on the money line. If you want to take them plus 1.5, that's all you. And I like the over 139.5 in Illinois and UConn.
Rich McGuire says, I'm with Sammy. I'll take Arizona and the points. Hashtag bear down. Rich?
Yes, sir.
You also were with him on the Lakers last night.
Rich.
The only reason I'm going against Sammy on that pick is because if Michigan goes to the championship game, I'm pretty sure I win Sammy's family.
But why shouldn't you hedge it? This is why you should bet with me.
No, I don't do the hedging thing. I just go all in on one thing. It's a personality flaw of me. All right, San Diego Sports 760, Hour 2, Charlie Poot tickets, Steve Hartman, all on the other side. Don't go anywhere. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport's sponsored by Unbound.org. The Padres are in Boston taking on the Red Sox, currently losing 3-2 right now with Michael King on the mound. The Lakers got destroyed last night by the Oklahoma City Thunder. They will be back later this weekend against the Dallas Mavericks. Lakers still awaiting that MRI on Luka Doncic's hamstring after leaving in the third quarter. And we got Final Four coverage coming at you tomorrow. Coverage begins at 12. Illinois, UConn can go in around 3 o'clock. Illinois a slight favorite in that game at 1.5. And then Michigan, Arizona following it. Michigan is a slight favorite in that game at 1.5. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your sport can go at Unbound.org.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
Well, we know that, but it's a little different now. The Padres are in Boston for the weekend. We'll keep you updated on Game 1 and react when it's over. And who will be left standing for the Natty after the Final Four tomorrow. Plus,
Cavs, -9.5, gonna beat the crap out of the Warriors tonight.
What did he say? You're wrong.
Give me the Pistons and the Timberwolves under defensive slugfest under 223.5.
You got the moves. I'll give you that.
And the Lake Show +9.5 going into Oklahoma City, covering the spread and maybe, just maybe, getting a win.
Tell me he didn't just say that.
It'll be a 43-point Oklahoma City blowout.
And that was the worst day of my life.
from the San Diego Sports 760 studios, we go in the zone with Fletch and Sammy.
Yeah, let's get it going on hour number 2 here on San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you for another hour. Sammy's going to take over then for an hour after that from 2 to 3, going along with Sammy. John Schaefer, Alan Sleewall will drive you home tonight, 3 to 6 o'clock. They will have full post-game reaction from Padres Red Sox, a game in which Fernando Tatis Jr. quite literally just went up and over the wall, not in the good way, though, in the bad way, as the Red Sox hit a home run. All right, we got Charlie Poo tickets for you coming up in the very near future. He's playing on April 22nd at Viejas Arena. If you would like to win those tickets, stay tuned here on San Diego Sports 760. We'll be giving them away within the next 15 minutes or so. A couple of stories floating around the world of sports right now. Steph Curry supposed to make his return coming up against the Houston Rockets, playing on Sunday, I believe. Rockets and Warriors. So Steph Curry coming back to hopefully be part of a late season push for the Warriors. We'll see on that, man. I do start to wonder how many years Steph Curry actually has left in the NBA, because it does seem like year in and year out, less and less available time for Steph Curry with the injuries that he's sustained over the years. And remember, the problem was always his ankles when he first started out. Now it's everything is the problem for Steph Curry.
It's like Steph just seems like such a good dude, and he's so intertwined with, I mean, Fletch, this you're from up there, around that area, like the Bay, and he is, I mean, outside of Barry Bonds, I mean, you could make an argument the greatest athletes come out of the Bay.
Sure.
And
I mean, Jerry Rice exists.
Jerry
Joe
yes.
Montana exists.
There's a lot you could go to, but Steph Curry deserves to be in that conversation.
Talk about Patrick Willis, Sammy.
Okay, not over Steph Curry, but it is a shame because at 37 years old, Steph Curry, even though he's out with a lot of injuries, is still one of the best players in the league. Is he quite what he was? Not necessarily, but you could also make the argument that the Warriors haven't really put the pieces around him to be successful. Certainly, when he had the Clay and Kevin Durant and all those guys, but you wonder if he didn't shut down speculation a month ago about the Charlotte Hornets. Could he go play for his dad's former team? You wonder if he ends up moving here to try to go get a run for a ring somewhere else, because the Warriors just don't really look like they're going to be in contention the next couple of years. They just feel old.
I just don't see Steph having the end of his career that LeBron has had so far, where LeBron's playing into his 40s and he's still like, something fascinating that I kind of found out about yesterday. I guess I always knew, but never really put it together. LeBron has never once in his career had a season ending injury, which
he's
is
been a real Iron Man.
Crazy to think about the amount of years he's played, the amount of extra seasons he's played with all the playoff runs he's had between the Cavs and the Heat and the Lakers. Like, LeBron has never once had a season-ending injury. He's had a bunch of little speed bumps throughout his entire career where he's missed a couple of weeks at a time, but never once has he had the Achilles, the ACL, the things that we so often see basketball players have that they have to be shut down for a year. LeBron just hasn't been that dude. Steph Curry, on the other hand, the guy's got a laundry list of injuries that have just stacked up, and he's in his late 30s now. I just don't know how much longer, especially with the style of ball that he plays, where it's all about off-ball movement, where he's running around, he's doing extra than everybody else on the court because he is smaller, and he is so obvious that the offense is going to flow through him shooting the ball from beyond the arc, that it's just tougher for Steph Curry. I just don't see how many more years he has left, but he is expected to return this Sunday.
I'm surprised he's coming back because the Warriors are hanging on in that last play-in spot. And listen, the NBA would love it if, even though the Warriors would get demolished by the Thunder, getting to market Steph for Shea in the first round for a first-round matchup is fun. And trust me, the NBA would love that versus the Portland Trailblazers and Donovan Clingan. But you feel a little bit bad for Steph that I don't really get why he's coming back right now when they don't have a shot to win the championship.
Yeah, it is. I think it's just because he legitimately loves playing basketball. And I do think he feels some sort of responsibility to the Warriors and to the people of the Bay Area. Steph is kind of an old school athlete in that way. All right. And then in college basketball. So something fascinating has come along with this era of NIL, in this era of player mobility and coaching mobility. If we're being completely honest, we saw this big time in football when that Penn State job came open. There were a lot of coaches around the country who aren't necessarily great head coaches at the college football level, aren't with the biggest powerful schools, but they all got paid a boatload of cash because everybody thought that they might be bouncing for the Penn State job. And what this ended up being was Penn State waited way too long to hire a head coach. And so they were left with, it was after the recruiting window was open, and guys like, who was the stinking Matt Rule, got a fat contract extension.
Like they were scared he was going to go to Penn State.
Right. And so this is now happening in college basketball because North Carolina fired their head coach Hubert Davis. And so now in the kind of the wasteland that's been left by North Carolina doing that is every top head coach in the country is being thought of like, oh, they'll go join the Tar Heels, one of the most storied franchises in all of college basketball history. You see Tommy Lloyd just signed a fat extension with Arizona.
That just happened before the Final Four. I mean, it's crazy that he's getting this before where Arizona.
We don't know what Arizona's going to, the storyline around them is tomorrow.
And the Final Four, you talk about a team with the most pressure on them. UConn is no pressure. UConn has won before. They're kind of playing with house money. Illinois, same way. No one expected them to be here. Arizona has been a team that has yearly underperformed in March Madness despite their extremely high seedings, and he's getting shipped out. Hell, in college football, Kurt Signetti, now he won a national championship. He got the 8-year, $92.5 million contract when that Penn State job came open you were talking about because they were scared he was going to jump. Then he wins a championship. Mendoza's going to the Raiders at number 1. He got another pay bump because they're scared that he's going to leave to go to get before Kubiak got it, the Raider job. It is amazing that in college basketball and college football, the best thing to be is
the next head coach,
because the fear of you leaving is going to make them probably overpay for you, and you just have your pick of the litter.
Because Arizona had an incredible year with NIL. If Tommy Lloyd leaves and they have to replace that role, who's saying that Tommy Lloyd wasn't a guy who was going to people and saying, hey, I need this much in NIL. What are you going to do to make it happen? Like Tommy Lloyd has those connections for Arizona. Maybe the next guy doesn't have the same ones. That's what everyone's worried about right now. Not to mention Tommy Lloyd has Arizona back at the top of the world of college basketball, which is where they want to be anyways. So it's just fascinating right now. I'm sure Tommy Lloyd got broke off. There were rumors over the last couple of weeks that Michael Jordan, as in the GOAT, has been on the phone with Tommy Lloyd trying to woo him over to the North Carolina job. He kind of put those to bed, but I bet you they happened. I bet you that's exactly what was going down, was Michael Jordan calling on Tommy Lloyd to try to get him to take the job. And look, if you say no to Michael Jordan, I don't know what kind of money Arizona offered you, but it had to be pretty damn good. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Let's get to the big 3 here of hour number 2, where Sammy rips the top stories in the world of sports. Sammy, smash.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
All right, Sammy, where are we heading?
I was going to go with one story, but let's go with, so we talked a little boxing in the last hour, but Deontay Wilder is fighting his 40 anyway. But we've seen boxing in the UFC, the lack of great American heavyweights. Like, when was the last time John Jones in the UFC, but John Jones is old? We're not seeing young, great American heavyweights in the UFC. We're not seeing young, great heavyweights in American boxing. It's always Tyson Fury, British, Alexander Usyk from Ukraine. Have we seen the end of great American heavyweights in boxing and UFC? Because either maybe of the diminishing value of the sport, or people are involved in other sports like football, basketball. Have we seen the last of it?
I do really think with boxing, you've seen the end until you haven't, right? Like, superstars get born in boxing and UFC that do cut through all other sports, and you could have a bigger star in either of those sports than pretty much anywhere else in the world. Like, outside of Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow, like the stardom of the NFL quarterback being at an elite level, you could get right there. You just need the next guy. And you need that guy to not only be as dominant as Mike Tyson, but as good on the mic as Conor McGregor. Those sports give you such an opportunity to cut through that we will see another one, but it's been a pretty good lull. And right now, I don't know who that guy's going to be or if that guy's even born yet, to be completely honest. But there will be a return of the American heavyweight. The country will get behind him once again. You just don't have the personality yet. And that's what you need more than anything.
It's hard because in America, boxing UFC is behind football, behind basketball, behind baseball, behind some of the big sports. So, I mean, how many great heavyweights are playing offensive line in the NFL?
For sure.
Or defensive line we see this in soccer with the United States. If the United States' number one sport was soccer, we would be just as good as England and France and all those countries, except
how many of our best soccer players are playing wide receiver?
Right. Tyreek Hill, if he learned how to kick a soccer ball,
he'd be amazing.
I mean, so there's a little bit of that, and you're in England and Mexico, where outside of soccer, boxing and now UFC are the second biggest sports. This is what, if you're too big to play soccer, if you're too slow to play soccer, you're going to fight.
Which is why out of Mexico, we have a fighter pretty much every year who's top dog.
100%. So I agree with you. I think we will get back to that point, but it will take a while. Richard Torres could be the next great American heavyweight, but he's a little bit undersized. Hopefully we will get back to that point, because in boxing and UFC, the way the heavyweight division goes is really the way the sport goes, because the casual fans want to tune into that. Hopefully we get back to that. All right, big news out of the NFL coming down right now. Trayvon Walker and the Jags. Trayvon Walker signs a 4-year, $110 million extension,
Whoa.
$77 million guaranteed, and get this, $50 million at signing. So he just got $50 million dumped in his bank account. Are you surprised Trayvon Walker signed this big of a deal for Jacksonville?
That is kind of industry shaking, if we're being honest. I guess good for the Jaguars. You got the guy you want. Defensive line is obviously a highly coveted spot. Trayvon Walker has been really good. He's 25 years old? I think I have that right. 25 years old. So you're locking this dude up, and now it's time to build around him. You're thinking the Jags have a window of about 3 or 4 more years where, like this year, they weren't that far off. I promise you. They were not that far off from getting to a Super Bowl. And I think it would have been a better game if it was Jags against the Seahawks than it ended up being with the Patriots against the Seahawks. But you think about the Jags, and I don't think the AFC is going to be as bad this year as it was last year, but they have every right to be right up there near the top with the Bills and the Ravens and the Chiefs and the Bengals if they can figure their stuff out. Like, the Jags are there, so sometimes when you're there, you need to make these moves, and good for them on locking up their guy.
Trayvon Walker's become a good player, but Trayvon Walker...
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, and Trayvon Walker's the epitome. With draft season, we're talking about the draft earlier. What are we, 2-3 weeks away from the NFL draft? The NFL draft, Trayvon Walker was a guy who everyone fell in love with the combine. His measurables, he's the first guy you want off the bus.
He was coming out of Georgia.
Which
Georgia has that pedigree of defensive line.
And remember, Aiden Hutchinson went 2. And Aiden Hutchinson was supposed to be the guy that went number 1. But then we hear this narrative. We've heard about Nick Bosa. We've heard about Joey Bosa. A lot of guys over the years, he's a 10 to 12 sack a year guy, and they're going to knock them for that. What? I'll take 10 to 12 sacks on my team every year. And this is NFL GMs overthinking it, falling in love with the draft combine versus what they see on tape. So for the Jags, I'm with you. Trayvon Walker's a very solid player. He could even develop into being a great player. But with like Ruben Bain coming out from Miami, and everyone's made a big deal about his short arms, except he was the best pass rusher in college football. He's dropping down draft boards. It just feels like NFL owners, NFL GMs overthink this stuff sometimes and take into account the measurables and the combine numbers over just what's on tape. Trayvon Walker's been a good player, but I wouldn't say that Trayvon Walker has been a superstar pass rusher, and the Jags are just desperately trying to save face with their former number 1 overall pick.
I think the bigger fear is, what is your defense without Trayvon Walker? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you don't have him, I think you start to take the Jags a little less seriously moving forward. So it's probably a situation where they almost had to pay him. You want to squeeze one more in here, Sammy?
Well, let's go back to Tommy Lloyd. So Tommy Lloyd is going to be a part of the Big 3. Tommy Lloyd gets the huge contract extension ahead of the Final Four. Head coach for Arizona was being linked to North Carolina. Do you have a problem with Arizona giving this extension before we even see what happens tomorrow night?
If they didn't give him the extension, he would be the University of North Carolina's head coach at the end of this tournament. I think that Tommy Lloyd did have those conversations with Michael Jordan. I think Tommy Lloyd probably let Arizona know. He's like, hey, just so you know, if we don't get something done by the time the Final Four starts, because now he has all the power right now. He's like, North Carolina wants me. I want to go to North Carolina. If we don't get something done before the Final Four, I'm done no matter how the rest of this goes. And think about where Arizona's mind can change after the Final Four. I don't think this is going to happen, but what if Michigan kicks the crap out of them?
And
it could happen. If Michigan has a hot night from three, this could be a 20-point game.
Well, that's where when you see this, and you're right, he
has all the power.
If you want to keep your coach, and hell, I picked Arizona to win, so I think they're going to win the game. But to your point, it is very real that Michigan dominates and looks good in this game. Just like it's very real that Arizona could dominate and win this game. It's a true pick 'em matchup. We don't know what we're going to see. It is, I mean, you talk about a guy who Arizona already had the most pressure on them because of the fact they haven't won in almost 30 years, and been one of the best teams all season. Now you just gave Tommy Lloyd a huge extension to keep him away from North Carolina. If he goes out and gets shellacked in this game, Arizona's got egg on their face.
The Wildcat, the fan base seems to love him. I know Koa Pete went on record saying, I'm so happy for Coach. Tucson loves him. We love him. But that can change in an instant, man. You get embarrassed in the Final Four, that can change. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. If you want those Charlie Puth tickets, now is the time to call. Charlie Puth performing at Viejas Arena April 22nd, 877-767-4760. Sammy, what number you want to give these to?
Student number 8.
How about caller number 8? I like it a lot. It's San Diego Sports 760. Call number 8. You are going to see Charlie Puth at Viejas Arena. And right now, you are listening live on the iHeartRadio app. Shout out Dave. Just won those Charlie Puth tickets. Dave's about to be a superstar in his household. I promise you that. My wife has been bugging me to get some tickets to see Puth.
Yeah, Dave Maybe Dave's going. I don't know. Dave didn't tell me whether he's going to the show.
Well, that's the thing. If Dave is in a relationship, he gets to be the hero by bringing someone with him. But if he doesn't go to the show, all the hero points are lost.
He gets dropped that on Hinge, dude. But I got Seafood tickets Saturday night.
That's good stuff. Text line is open 70470. Start your message with team. Steve Hartman's going to be joining us in about 8 minutes from right now for his weekly appearance. 619 texting in says, how is Wandy Peralta a part of the best bullpen in baseball? So if you have not been keeping up with what's going on with the Padres, try to break this down for you. Michael King pitched 5 2/3 innings. Looked decent. I thought his changeup looked as good as it's looked in years for my money. He had 6-7 inches of run on that thing. Gave up 2 runs. And so Michael King pitched well enough for my money. Padres scored 2 runs to back him up. He leaves the game tied. Wandy Peralta comes in. Contreras hits a home run. And then there was another home run given up. I don't remember who hit the second one. Was it Abreu?
Mayer hit it.
Mayer hit it?
Marcelo Mayer.
Contreras hit the first one, though.
Yes,
Contreras and Mayer. You're right. Okay, so Contreras and Mayer both hit home runs off of Wandy Peralta. And to your point, 619, you would think, like the Padres coming off an off day, this would be the time to go with the A team out of the bullpen. And I don't think Wandy Peralta is justified to be in that A team. Like there are a few names I would probably go to first, but this is Stammen's early season speed bumps has been bullpen usage.
And I think there's something to that's they're telling us without telling us. Marinasio's warming up. They're not going with the A team. So the fact that it's only a 3-run game, I know that's a decent amount.
Michael King today, Randy Vasquez tomorrow. You're thinking you're needing the bullpen big time for game 3.
It doesn't give a lot of faith in the offense that when it's
but it was a 2-2 game, man. You gotta go A team.
That's what I'm agreeing with is that it's a 2-2 game, then it's a 3-2 game, and you're not going with the A team. So are you real? Are we really sitting here talking about how the Padres can't make up a 1-run game on the road? Now a 3-run game on the road. And it's that if they basically get a lead, it's going to be wraps for the game. And it's just, if they pull a miracle out, it's going to pull a miracle out, but they're not going with the high leverage arms. And the other factor of this, relying on your bullpen from year to year is risky.
Yeah.
The Dodgers, the first year they won against the Yankees, best bullpen in baseball. The next year, one of the worst bullpens in baseball, and certainly the worst bullpen in the postseason last year. It's a tricky thing when you're so reliant on a bullpen. And a great bullpen doesn't matter if you can't get leads.
I would also say there is a chance this bullpen's a little top heavy. Like I know we talk about it as it has the arms to be the best bullpen in baseball. They have the best closer in baseball. I'm confident in that. Mason Miller, I think for the way he's pitched since he's been a San Diego Padre, is the best closer in all of Major League Baseball. Outside of that, who are you really trusting? I like what I've seen from David Morgan. I don't love it. Right. I like what I've seen from Adrian Morejon. But it's like Morejon and Miller, you feel great about. Estrada, are we all feeling super confident in?
Well, that's the thing, because for a while there last year, you had Adam, Estrada was playing great, Morejon, Suarez, and Miller.
They need Jason Adam back, man.
Adam's not there right now. Suarez is obviously not playing for him anymore. And Estrada does not look like the same guy ever since the Dodgers obliterated him in those 2 series that were back-to-back weekends. I mean, it's concerning right now. It's really, I know people want to play that, it's early. And
the other question is, does anyone have faith they can make up a 3-run deficit?
On paper? Yeah.
With the bulk of their lineup coming up, by the way.
On paper, 100%. You would look at it and go, 3 runs, not a big deal. But the fact that Craig Stammen is not going with the A team is telling you a lot, and that they don't believe these guys have the ability to come back. And that's concerning because the bats have to be better. And over the first week of the season, they've been pretty pathetic.
Here's what I can promise you. This game will be wrapped up by the time Sammy gets on the air for his hour. So you'll have a lot of post-game reaction from Sammy Long. Maybe a little ticked off reaction. We'd love to see it.
Yeah, send us your talkbacks. What are your thoughts on the team right now?
Open up the free iHeartRadio app. Tap the little red microphone icon in the top right-hand corner of the screen when you're listening to San Diego Sports 760. Leave Sammy a 30-second message. He'll play it back on air between the hours of 2 and 3 o'clock. And then Schaefer and Sliwa will have full reaction from today's Padres action outside of in Fenway Park. 858, that's correct, Sammy. The Padres cannot and will not come back from 3 down. Pitiful offense.
Sadly, man.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break here. Steve Hartman is going to be joining us on the other side. Talk some NBA, talk some college hoops with the legend himself, Steve Hartman. It's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app.
This part is sponsored by Unbound.org. Padres in Boston right now, down 5-2 in the bottom of the 8th inning. Lakers got blasted last night by Oklahoma City. Lakers are currently awaiting the MRI on Luka Doncic's hamstring to determine how long he will miss. And then, of course, Final Four coverage begins tomorrow starting at 12. Illinois, UConn first game at 3:09, and Arizona, Michigan at 5:49 for the nightcap. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education, help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2:00. Sammy will keep it going then. We got this text from the 619. Our buddy SoCal Jayhawk says, let me rephrase that. How had Peralta been part of the best bullpen in baseball?
No one knows.
619 saying the Padres no longer have the best bullpen in baseball. Man, it's been a frustrating start. We'll see if they can turn it around in the 9th inning here, but it's not looking good for the Pods, who are going to be falling to, what would this be, 2-6 with a loss today? 2-5 with a loss today?
Yep.
Oof, rough start. Not how we saw this one going. All right, well, never know how we're going to see this one going. Steve Hartman joins us every Friday, and it is he lives up to his name. The Loose Cannon is here. Hello, Steve. How are you?
Well, Fletch, Sammy, it is great. You're not going to pull the plug on the Padres season. So after today, they only have 155 games to go. So I know it feels bad right now, but don't give up hope. It's a long way to go.
This is Steve Hartman, man. We've been like 6 games into a season before, and I've heard you come on air and say, fire everyone.
Well, I said that actually game one. Well, no, the most fireable offense should have been John Shire at the end of that Duke UConn game. He should literally have been fired on the court at the end of that game.
Yeah, how do you not call a timeout?
On the spot. I mean, how is it that your guys do not understand what's going on here? There's less than 10 seconds. You don't have to get the ball in the front court. You just got to get fouled. And the smaller twin Boozer, Caden Boozer, gets his hands on the ball and then throws it into the front court, or tries to, as the two UConn guys were running at him to try to foul him. Just unbelievable. That is a horribly coached team, and for 2 consecutive years, they lose tournament games that they had no business losing. That's on the coach. Shire's a fraud. Fire him out.
Sammy and I were going through like ways that you could have done that final possession better. And literally at 7 seconds, if you had thrown the ball as high in the air as you possibly could, it would have hit the ground probably around 3 seconds, or there would have been a mad fight for it. But at least you would have given yourself a better chance than trying to split 2 UConn defenders with it. But I like seeing
Why
Duke lose.
is he passing? The idea was to get fouled.
Correct.
And go to the free throw line and knock down 2 free throws. Done. Game over. I just was unbelievable. It was just such inept coaching. And for that to happen 2 years in a row to Duke, look at the bench, man. The guy has not got his players. I don't care, freshman, whatever. And by the way, he had a timeout. He could have called timeout to set his team and say, all right, here's what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to get the foul, blah, blah, blah. Unbelievable. I mean, just complete botchery of coaching. And, well, I'm happy. Even though I picked Duke to win it all, my brackets had already been busted.
That's why Steve's upset. There it is. I was like, wow, he's really pissed about a game that happened a week ago.
Steve, where does that Mullen shot rank for you all time in March Madness moments?
It's one of the all-timers. I mean, 35-footer for a freshman, down 2 to win the game? It's got to be top 5 of all time. To me, it was a harder shot than Christian Laettner's shot, who, got a chance to catch the ball, turn, set himself, but it wasn't nearly that long of a shot. Top 5, it could be top 3 when you consider down 2, off the steal, no time to think about it, 35 feet away, all net. I mean, it's an all-time shot. It was absolutely nuts.
Yeah, it was up there with the Chris Jenkins shot, I would say. Like Chris Jenkins, I mean, you have to include Lamont Butler in this conversation, considering Lamont almost stepped out of bounds. But yeah, it was wild from UConn. Now, Dan Hurley headbutting the ref. What did you think about that situation?
Dan Hurley's a nutcase. I mean, do we all agree that Dan Hurley is like certifiable?
I think he's certifiable, but Steve, I also think he's the best head coach in college basketball right now. It's like him and Pitino.
Well, I mean, I like his fire and everything else. He should have been teed up. They would have gotten 2 free throws, game over, they lose. You can't do that. You can't be headbutting. And he said, well, I thought he was going to chest bump me. Really? You thought the official was going to come up and chest bump you with 0.4 seconds to go in the game? Really? I mean, what are you talking about? So, I mean, look, he got away with it. But no, there's no, the rules are very specific. A coach cannot touch officials while a game is going on, period. And so he should have been teed up. Should have been over, but they didn't call it.
Steve, when you look at the Final Four tomorrow, do you see this really as Arizona, Michigan being the kind of quasi national championship game, or do you think we're not giving enough respect to UConn and Illinois?
Well, I don't know about Illinois, but you're certainly not giving enough respect for UConn. I mean, they've won 18 straight games from Sweet 16 on. They've been in 7 previous Final Fours, and they won 6 championships. The only game they've ever lost in a Final Four was 2009. They lost a semifinal game to Michigan State. Otherwise, they have a perfect record in Final Four games. So, Arizona and Michigan, those are unknown quantities. Those teams haven't been to the Final Four in a long time. So, seriously, I guess on paper, look, I had Michigan in the championship game, so I'm going to stay with Michigan to beat Arizona. But I certainly wouldn't bet against UConn. You just said it. Dan Hurley's the best coach in college basketball. Is he going to lose to Dusty May or Tommy Lloyd in a championship game? If UConn is in that championship game, I don't care if it's Arizona or Michigan, my money's on UConn.
I'll tell you what, Steve, Sammy's panicking a little bit because my bracket in his family's bracket challenge has Michigan and Illinois as the final 2 teams. And if one of them makes it to the national championship game, I win.
Whoa. You have Illinois?
I had Illinois.
You're the only person on the planet that had Illinois.
I'd love to tell you it's because I was wildly smart and thought this all the way through, but this was the bracket that I put in about 5 minutes before the deadline. I was just clicking.
Best way to do it.
Yep. I had no idea what I was doing with this bracket.
Insane. You are the only person I know.
I had my Final Four consisted
in the Final Four.
I had Arizona, Illinois, Michigan, and I can't remember the other
St. John's.
St. John's. That's right. I had the Johnnies going as well. So I had 3 out of the 4. It was a pretty good one. All right, Steve. Lakers.
Well, if you were on our Fox Sports Radio, you'd be winning.
I know.
No question.
I think it's
and we're playing for like $100,000.
What?
No, I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say,
what's a Steve Hartman type buy-in?
I don't pay. Sammy, I'm not like you. I'm not a compulsive gambler. Okay, so I don't bet on anything, anywhere, at any time. Fletch knows this. I do not put money on the table.
Yeah, Steve and I did a year-long NFL picks one time, and it was astonishing. Like you would have had to try to pick the wrong team as often as Steve was wrong. It was kind of incredible. All right, Steve. Lakers. Last night, obviously, I would argue is the low point of the entire season for the Los Angeles Lakers. They got absolutely embarrassed by OKC. Luka gets hurt. It's not like the game was going any other way before that. But what did you see out of the Lakers last night, and what does that tell you about the future this year for this Lakers team?
Well, it tells me the Lakers exactly where they were last year. Remember, last year they were the 3 seed. They went down in flames in the opening round to Minnesota. They could face Denver. They could face another one of these teams that could take them out in the first round. Obviously, they're nowhere near OKC or San Antonio. So any delusions that somehow the Lakers are a championship team go out the window. They have no defense. And this Luka injury. Can you imagine? If he's out for the regular season, he is ineligible for everything. Cannot be named All-NBA, can't be named MVP, can't be eligible for any postseason awards because he has played 64 games and you have to play 65. This is the dumbest rule. And by the way, the Players Association have only themselves to blame because they actually agreed to this. It absolutely is crazy. I know the Lakers are going to try to appeal. Good luck. Not a chance. So how much more of a disaster? But it was, you guys have been asking me for weeks, should we take the Lakers serious? And my answer is no. No, San Antonio's won 27 of their last 29 games. I mean, San Antonio and OKC are light years ahead of the Lakers. I mean, it's not even close. And we saw that in full display last night.
Steve, do you think it's just San Antonio and OKC, or do you think a Boston and Detroit, one of these other teams, could challenge them?
Well, I don't know about the Cade Cunningham situation. Obviously, he would have to be 100%. But with Jason Tatum back, absolutely, I would put Boston in the mix. But outside of that, no, there's not going to be any other team coming out of nowhere to win a best of 7 series. Nobody, no. It's just, I mean, I will say this, assuming everybody stays healthy, that OKC San Antonio Western Conference Final is going to be phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Yeah, I still feel like the Spurs are they're a really fun regular season team. I do think they're like a year away, maybe 15 pounds on Victor Wembanyama away from being championship contenders. All right, Steve, Easter weekend coming up. Big plans?
Well, I was telling Sammy when I came on. So, guys, as I don't know if you know this. Well, I've talked about this. I was raised in a mixed home. My mother was not just Jewish; she was a Holocaust survivor. But because of her childhood and the trauma she went through, she essentially was a atheist Jew. So she was not religious. She married a Christian and had me baptized to protect my identity. She was so paranoid that what happened when she was a child would happen again. So I was raised, with going to Easter Sunday at my grandparents' house, but I never had a real religion in my life. And then the last night, a friend of mine invited me to a Passover dinner. I'm the only member of the Southern California Jewish Sports Hall of Fame that had never been to a Passover dinner, didn't have a bar mitzvah, none of that.
That was only
stuff.
a little bit
Great.
of a flex.
Actually, it was pretty cool. I was at this, a friend invited me. I was like, okay, that's cool. Look, I'll be working as usual. I'll have my national radio show on Sunday. I have TV Sunday night. It's nothing that I'm not anti-religion. I'm just not religious. So, my kids, when they were young, we did the Easter egg hunt, all that kind of stuff. But no, I don't have anything special planned like you and Kendall, I'm sure, have a big day planned.
We're the biggest idiots in the world, Steve. We're getting in the car like in 15 minutes and driving up to Long Beach and spending
LBC
3.5 hours and what should be an hour and a half car ride. So yeah, we're big plans over here, Steve.
Why are you going to Long Beach? What's in Long Beach?
That's where Kendall's whole family is. So we'll be spending Easter.
Oh my!
Easter with
April used to be my Long Beach Grand Prix celebrity race every year. Every year in April for 22 straight years out in Long Beach. That was my April home right after the
my
final
father-in-law
Masters.
probably sold you 1 million beers. He sold beer for the Long Beach Grand Prix.
That was where you and Vince Neil used to kick it, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Vince Neil, all the celebrities over the many years. It was phenomenal. When our kids were growing up, they got all the celebrity treatment. I miss it. Toyota pulled the sponsorship in 2016. That was the last year they had the celebrity race. You two guys, can you imagine if you gotten it? Because you had 2 weekends of training. You actually learned how to race a car as opposed to drive a car. And you had to go through the training or you could not participate. It's like a real race. Like you're actually racing cars.
Steve Hartman, aka Ricky Bobby. He likes to go fast. True story. Aerosmith's "Dude Look Like a Lady" was written about
Vince Neil.
Vince Neil. Boom, nailed it. Steve, good stuff. We'll talk to you next week.
Fletch and Sammy, have a great Easter weekend. I want to hear about it next week. And yes, go UConn Huskies.
Wow. I disagree with that statement, but thank you, Steve. Appreciate your time. It's San Diego Sports 760. We will close this thing up. Get you ready for going along with Sammy on the other side, plus reactions after the Padres game has gone final on the other side. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you for a final time here today. Sammy's going to continue this whole party for another hour before John Schaefer and Alan Slee take over at 3:00. If you missed the news of the week, John Schaefer has a co-host now. His name is Alan Sliwa. Great San Diegan, great dude. We really like Alan, and we're glad he's part of the team. And so that'll start at 3:00 today. Sammy's got a full hour for you coming up. And I mean, the timing is just outrageous. The NFL has concluded today that Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice has not engaged in conduct that violates the personal conduct policy, and the investigation into accusations from his former girlfriend is now closed. There will be no discipline at this time for Rashee Rice, who is looking like he will be able to play for the entirety of the 2026-27 NFL season.
Big news. Big news. What a way to kick off the weekend.
You don't want to see the Chiefs next year. I can't wait for next football season.
This is what freedom it gives the
Chiefs. No one wants to see it.
Now we don't have to take a receiver in 9. Now we get free roam. We want to take a right tackle. We want to take a defensive end.
Honestly, I have Rashee on my dynasty team. I'm more than okay with this. I was panicking about what to do with them because I can't have another miss on my dynasty team.
Remember all the free Rashee shirts?
I don't remember any of those,
Tyreek,
actually.
Yeah.
So that's
not
cool.
Tyreek, Travis Kelce.
Good for you, Sammy. The Chiefs are going to be mediocre again. All right, Padres lost. The game is in the books. So if you're looking for some post-game reaction, we got you for the next few hours here on San Diego Sports 760. Padres lose 5-2. Now, here's the disappointing part about this 5-2 loss for the Padres. Between the 8th and the 9th inning, Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado both got at-bats. Manny did walk. I'll give him credit for that. But Fernando Tatis Jr. came up at a good spot. Look, the Padres offense, I just don't have faith at this point that they're going to be able to overcome any sort of leads. And in fact, today they can hardly overcome a 2-0 lead. So the Red Sox got up 2-0 early. Give the Padres credit. Gavin Sheets had a really nice hit, kind of a nice solid contact on the right side of the field to bring in the first run of the day. But that doesn't even happen without the fact that Miguel Andujar's triple, I'm going to put that in quotes, was because the center fielder for Boston lost the ball in the sun. So it is another one of those disappointing losses, and all fingers need to point right back at the offense once again, I think, because Michael King did enough, 5 2/3, 2 runs given up. I think he'll take that. And then Wandy Peralta, he had a rough day at the office, but the offense just needs to show some sign of life, please.
The offense has no excuse. Like we talked about all offseason that the weakness of this team was going to be starting pitching. But to your point, Michael King, even Walker Buehler, did his stuff look great? No.
He only gave up 3 runs.
And at Petco Park, you're sitting there going, the Padres offense has zero excuses to not be putting runs up on the board. I mean, if we want to talk about Fernando Tatis in this light, if we want to talk about Manny Machado and these guys, they look anemic the first week. And thank God for Mo Laureano and Jackson Merrill. I know Jackson Merrill struck out in the 9th inning, but Jackson Merrill has kept this team afloat. He's been the one guy offensively, and Ramon Laureano, who you've looked at and has brought anything. It's just disappointing. And it's an even worse look when we're seeing them at the WBC a month ago and everyone's dancing, having a great time. Oh, look, party Fernando, all this stuff. And yet here we are a week into the season, and they're not losing because of starting pitching. They're not losing necessarily. The bullpen hasn't been great, but not necessarily losing because of the bullpen. A lot of people are going to point to that. They're losing because of the offense. And I don't know what brings it out of them. I mean, at some point, these guys just have to hit, and there's not, I don't know what to say. Like, he's got to hit the baseball, and they're getting paid to do it, and they're not doing it.
Well, figure out what to say, because you got an hour of talking about this coming up next when Sammy.
Send talkbacks in. Send talkbacks, Little Red Microphone on the iHeart app. We will be playing them in this hour coming up on the air, and also text us 70470. Start your message with team.
And you know what? While you're on that free iHeartRadio app, hit that little plus button. That adds us to your presets.
Might as well. You're already there.
We'll be right at the top. All right, Sammy's long shots for this weekend. Chicago at New York, under 237.5. Illinois at UConn, or I guess Illinois against UConn in the
NCAA
tournament.
Chicago at New York?
Yeah.
I didn't have that in long shots.
Oh, that's right. I added that.
Yeah,
My bad.
What?
If you want a little extra, I put them going under. Illinois, UConn, over 139.5. Michigan, Arizona. What'd you do? 1.5?
Arizona, money line or plus Sammy? 1. Yeah, let me do it. Arizona plus 1.5. I think they're going to pull the upset, or not, I don't even call it upset. It's a pick'em game. I like the over 139.5 in UConn, Illinois. UConn puts teams at the foul line a lot, going to slow the game down. And Deontay Wilder and Derek Chisora, I like over 7.5 rounds. They're too old. I don't see the knockout power there anymore.
There you go. That's what I was trying to do. Nicely done, Sammy. All right. And then, by the way, if you waited and have not put in your John Rahm ticket yet for the Masters, the odds are going not in your favor. It's getting worse to put money on John Rahm. So if you followed me last week, congratulations. Can't hear a word you're saying, Sammy. What's up?
I was saying you're moving betting lines.
I guess
threw
so.
John Rahm out there.
You could 11 extra money. Now it's down to 8xing your money. So good luck if you're putting anything on Rahm now. All right. Sammy's next. John Schaefer, Alan Slewa. After that, plenty of reaction to the Padres 5-2 loss coming your way next on San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. The Padres just took a loss to the Red Sox 5-2 today at Fenway. Michael King took the loss. Game 2 is tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be Randy Vasquez going against Connolly early. First pitch is set for 1:10. Duke freshman Cameron Boozer was named AP Player of the Year today. He received 59 of 61 votes from AP Top 25 voters. He joins Cooper Flagg, Zion Williamson, Anthony Davis, and Kevin Durant as the only freshman to win the AP award. And each of those players all went either number 1 or number 2 in the NBA draft in their respective years. And despite all the North Carolina rumors, Coach Tommy Lloyd has agreed to a new deal with Arizona. Per ESPN sources, Arizona's new deal with Lloyd will make him one of the 5 highest paid coaches in all of college basketball. He's going to average about $7.5 million over the life of the deal. Choosing the right home service company isn't just about fixing what's broken. It's about trusting who's in your home. That's why homeowners count on Anderson for friendly professional service that keeps everything running right. Visit AndersonPHA.com.
Going long with Sammy.
That's going to be hot.
In depth on the story of the day. Plus, it's warm in the hot seat. Now, it's Sammy Long.
Welcome to Going Long, first week, obviously, of the new lineup. Schaefer and Slee taking over here at 3 o'clock, and I'm on 2 to 3 every day, Monday through Friday. We got Schaefer joining a little bit earlier today at 2:30, and then Slee will be joining for the crossover as well at 2:45. So I had a whole show planned. I had an entire show planned about bashing the Lakers, which we still may get to in a little bit, because I was talking to everybody yesterday about how I thought they had a shot last night and they got absolutely blown off the floor, which was embarrassing on multiple levels. We're going to get to some Final Four, but San Diego Padres, and I've been asking everyone to text 70470, start your message with team, or shoot us a call, 877-767-4760. Is it time to panic? Is it time to panic with this team? Because again, 877-767-4760. When I'm looking at this Padre team, and we had the game on the whole time while Fletch and I were on the air. Where are the bats? They scored 2 runs. And if you didn't watch the game and you're at work, Miguel Andujar hits a quote triple that really shouldn't have been a triple, because it was an error in center field. Completely missed the mark, running in the outfield, and then Gavin Sheets brought him home. But it's disappointing that we're a week into the season, and in the entire offseason, the kind of theory in the offseason talk was worried about starting pitching, and that was a fair worry. It was obvious to worry about that. I think it still is a concern. But if we take out Nick Pivetta on opening day, and Nick Pivetta, would certainly want that back. McGonigal in that lineup jumped on him in the first inning. Besides that, the starting pitching hasn't been all that bad. German Marquez, I'm taking out of the equation, because if we're sitting here counting on German Marquez to provide the Padres with a playoff push or an all-star, I want to remind people why Walker Buehler and German Marquez were free agents. This is a guy who was unplayable in Colorado. Look, I get that AJ Preller is going to sit there and he's going to look at our guy in German Marquez, and the ball does fly out in Colorado, if I'm saying, but you're going to take a flyer on him. But we can't be relying on German Marquez to be a star for this team. And outside of Nick Pivetta, outside of that first start, he was good yesterday. And now we get to Michael King today. Had a few, gave up a couple hits there, but was decent so far. Walker Buehler on Monday was fine. He gave up 3 runs, but I think if you would have told people on Monday at Petco that the Padres would only give up 3 runs and Walker Buehler would be fine, the Giants would have won. The Padres would have won. The Padres should be able to outscore some of these teams. It's embarrassing what the offense has done. And the fact that the WBC, it's an even worse look that we have Xander Bogaerts playing the WBC, Fernando Tatis, and Manny Machado. And these guys, and I'm not going to sit here and rip Fernando Tatis and Manny Machado for having fun when they're playing for their respective countries. But it is pretty embarrassing when they're dancing, going back and forth, and they're playing well in the WBC, not in the American semifinal. But then where's that energy so far with the Padres season? Because I haven't seen it. I don't know about you guys. I haven't seen that at all, because Fernando Tatis looks checked out. Manny Machado is known for going through these awful slumps, but off the jump of the season, it's been pretty bad. And outside of Jackson Merrill and Ramon Laureano, there really has been no success offensively with this team. And it's alarming. It is really alarming. Again, call us 877-767-4760. Are you panicking on this Padres season so far, a week into the season? Or we'll go to the phone lines. John's calling in, has something to say on the Padres. What's up, John?
Hey, Sammy, how you doing?
What's up?
In terms of panicking, I wouldn't hit the panic button yet. I mean, obviously, as a baseball fan, 7 games in is too early. But for me, it's more so this is kind of how it's going to be for a while in terms of, like you mentioned, our better guys hitting below 200 to start the year, hire a brand new manager with 0 coaching experience. It's very hard to kind of start a season like that and expect to get somewhere super fast. But I'll tell you one thing. If we get down double digits in games, I mean, we're pretty much already playing for a wild card spot, being in the same division as the Dodgers. But I don't panic, but I kind of sit back and think, this is kind of the outlook of how I envision the beginning of the season to look.
John, I'm curious your thoughts on Craig Stammen so far a week into the season, because I've given him a lot of leeway, and I totally agree with everything you said there. But it does feel like he told us a lot today when it was only a 1-run game, 3-2, and then 5-2. And yet he's bringing in the B team bullpen. And it just kind of, to me, gave me the impression that he doesn't believe this offense can come back at the level that we've been accustomed to the last few years. What are your impressions of Craig Stammen a week in?
Well, I think, you got to give him some form of leeway, just given on how new he is with 0 coaching experience. But he's not going to make the right move every time, and he's going to have some learning curves. But the thing is this is professional baseball, and it doesn't matter if you don't have any experience. If you're the manager, you're in charge, and you're in charge for every decision you make. But we saw Schilt be super aggressive with the bullpen last year, especially when the offense struggled. And like you mentioned, not pitching your best guys when it's close and your offense can't score. You're kind of staying in the hole that you dug earlier in the game. But it's going to take some time. I mean, he's going to learn as he goes. But again, that's kind of the hire that Preller made. But there's obviously time to get better. But starting 2-5 is doesn't please anybody around here.
John, thank you for the call, man. I completely agree. I mean, a lot of people are, at some point here, it's baseball's tricky in that it is a weekend in the season and there's a gazillion games left, but it's in a division, John just pointed that out there, in a division that, take out the Dodgers, the Giants and the Diamondbacks are going to be competitive players down the stretch here. You can't get too far behind because this is not a division where we're sitting there looking at that there's only one team that's out ahead and it's a bunch of garbage. I mean, there's only one Rockies in the division. Phone lines are lighting up again, 877-767-4760. Is it time to panic on this Padres team? Dave, what's up, man? You're on the air.
Yeah, Sam, I wouldn't say it's time to panic, but it's time to be concerned. The eyebrows get raised because this has been the rinse and repeat Padres. They've changed some of the names on paper, and that was supposed to be better. And we're still waiting for that to happen. But I think what concerns me the most, and you've alluded to it a little bit, is you've got Machado and Tatis, who were brought here not just to post on games, not just to show up every once in a while and hit for average on the back of the baseball cards. They are supposed to put this team on their back and send them to a World Series. Manny's in year 15 or 16. He hasn't even come close. Fernando has been MIA the last 3 years. So if not now, when is the big question with these two guys. And I just don't understand why there's so much reticence and kid gloves with these guys, because for God's sakes, they're part of the absolute bedrock of the money that has been spent to bring World Series. That's the bar. That's why they were given the money. That's why they're here. So the bulk of criticism that I give right now goes squarely to those two cats, because they gotta ramp it up and show that they can finally put this team on their back consistently for 162 games. That may not be fair, but that's what they signed up for.
Dave, 100% agree, man. Thank you so much for the call. I love what you said there. I mean, what Dave said about the coddling, it does feel a lot. And I get people don't want to bash the Stars because their favorite player at the ballpark is Manny Machado or Fernando Tatis. They're the guys that get paid to be on the marquee. I mean, these are the guys that get paid to be the franchise. And it feels like we've gone past the point. You hear it in what Dave and John said so far about we're past the point of, hey, it's fun that the Padres are relevant again. We're past the point of, hey, they're a fringe playoff team. Like, it's been years now where the Padres have been waiting to break through. And we thought that breakthrough came when they beat the Dodgers in 2022 and the city was on fire. And I don't think too many people crushed them for losing to the Phillies because you finally slayed the Dragon. Well, now it's 4 years later and the Dragons won 2 World Series back to back and the odds on favorite to win another one. And this team looks like, as of right now, they're being passed by the Diamondbacks, and the Giants, who looked lifeless over against the Yankees, came into Petco with a rookie manager who, as I quote last week, said, hey, the best thing about Major League Baseball is you get to do this all again tomorrow. Not the Bay was killing him. We'll talk to Mark Willard soon. And the San Francisco was absolutely destroying him for that quote. And he comes down here to San Diego and gets a couple wins. So I'm not trying to be sky is falling, but I'm with you. I think Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., I'm tired of criticizing Jeremiah Estrada or, Luis Campusano, who actually came through today, or the back end of this starting rotation because German Marquez doesn't make the same amount of money that Fernando Tatis makes. And it's a major factor why this team's at where it's at right now. 877-767-4760. Call us. Is it time to panic on this Padres team? Want to hear from you. Matt, what's up, man? How you doing, man? Thank you for the call.
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. What you think on the Padres today?
Look, main complaint, I feel bad for the pitching staff. The pitching staff's been fantastic. You can say all you want about it. First inning, 8 pitches, 0-1 count, weak rollover, 0-0 count, weak flyout, 2-2 count, hit in a couple sliders, and then a weak rollover. 8 pitches, 3 soft hit balls. What's the approach? What is the approach to the plate? Who's running the offense? It looks worse than I've seen since the Matt Kemp days. It's bad.
I'm Matt. It's a great point because it looks, to your point, it's lifeless. I mean, it's almost hard to break down. And Matt, thank you for the call, man. Really appreciate it. It's hard to break down because, we knew in the offseason, again, that this starting pitching staff was going to be a little bit of a struggle. In the whole point of having a great bullpen, while you trade Leo DeVries to go get Mason Miller. And by the way, I remember being on air the day that happened. There's still a lot of criticism in that city of, hey, Mason Miller's unbelievable. And he has certainly lived up to the hype of them trading for him and everything that he has brought alongside and the best closer in baseball. But there was some thoughts of, you did trade a potential everyday superstar for a guy who comes in once a game in the ninth. And it's extremely valuable. But the premise of why AJ Preller did that, and I'm not sitting here bashing AJ Preller today. That's not what I'm doing. The premise of why AJ Preller made that move is because the offense was supposed to be the calling card. The offense was supposed to come alive. And when you have a great offense, then you can hand it off to an elite bullpen. But if you never have a lead, you can have the greatest bullpen of all time. You can put that thing together. It doesn't matter. And Craig Stammen, you can tell it's become a fine line a week into the season where if the Padres have a lead, he's bringing in the ace, all the aces out of the bullpen. But if the Padres are even as today, it was 3-2 before Peralta gave up that 2-run blast to Mayer. It was 3-2. The game was 100% on paper, still in doubt. I mean, Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., Jackson Merrill, Xander Bogaerts playing his old team should be able to make up 1 run. And yet Craig Stammen's bringing in the B team because he's telling you a lot about that he doesn't believe in this offense. All right, text or call us 877-767-4760. We're going to continue this on the other side. Is it time to panic for the Padres? Where are you at? Is it early or is it time to panic? 877-767-4760 or text us at 70470. Start your message with team. Got a lot of text rolling in. We're going to get to that on the other side. Coming up on Going Long on San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Welcome back to Going Long on San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Jump in our YouTube stream. Shoot me a follow on Going Long 760 on X. Would love to interact with everyone there, live on Twitter and on YouTube. So we're reacting right now to the Padres, another loss against Boston. Pretty lifeless performance today. Talked to a couple people in the first break. Again, question right now of the day: is it time to panic for this Padres team? Currently, I'm looking at NOS standings. They're below the Colorado Rockies. And I know it's a weekend of the season, but whenever the Colorado Rockies appear on a list above you, not usually the best start to a season. Call us 877-767-4760. Again, 877-767-4760. Would love to hear from everyone on their thoughts on whether it's time to panic for the Padres. Let's get to some of these texts. So, I mean, off the jump today, the way that game unfolded, I said this last segment, but if you didn't watch the game because you're at work, the Padres shouldn't have even scored 2 runs. Miguel Andujar, it was a triple where center fielder for the Red Sox lost it in the sun. And it's just, I don't know what to say to the offense right now. I genuinely don't. It's one thing when you don't have the talent of starting pitching, but when you are sitting here and the bats have zero excuse, and I believe Dave said in the first segment was like, you know, it falls on Fernando Tatis and Manny Machado. Like, let's stop with this. Hey, we're protecting the stars in this city. No, they need to play like stars. I mean, when your name is on the marquee, when you are the franchise, when people point to the San Diego Padres and make a case about why they're going to do something or not do something this season, it hinges on those guys. And frankly, they just have not been coming through so far this season. All right, text line 619. Can we talk about how much the Padres suck? Keeping it blank. 619. 619 also said they've been doing the same thing since last year, right out starting pitching and then try to do damage to the bullpen. In terms of offense, I mean, I heard that the first week against the Tigers, it was like, oh, Framber Valdez on the mound, Tarek Skubal and Jack Flaherty, and those are all valid points. And we all knew that series, we kind of gave them the excuse when the offense wasn't there because of all the great starting pitching that they'd seen. But at the same time, come playoff time, which I know is many months away, those are the starting pitchers you have to hit. Like you're not facing Germán Marquez in the postseason. That's not happening. You're facing Tarek Skubal. You're facing Yoshinobu Yamamoto. You're facing Zach Gallen. And so far this year, in a small sample size, albeit, it has not looked very good. Another 619 number. I said it last year after the playoffs. Tatis and Manny are good, not great. I think it's fair. I mean, I feel like it's fair because since 2021, we've had moments of Fernando. We know what Fernando can do. At the beginning of last year, when they started 14-3, Fernando Tatis, this is why the city was on fire. And people were so excited about Padres baseball because we saw Fernando Tatis and what he can be. And what he can be is one of the best players in baseball because when Fernando Tatis was rolling, it was Shohei Ohtani on the marquee of every Major League Baseball post. Now it's PCA because of the Chicago Cubs fan base, Aaron Judge, and then Fernando Tatis is up there because he's a fun player to watch. When he is on, he is on. But unfortunately, it feels like too much of the time we have the conversation of Manny Machado's going through his normal slumps. Or what is Fernando looking at the plate? And it's disappointing. Different 858 number. Why is anyone surprised? It's the Padres. Another 619. What's concerning is that they all look checked out for being so early in the season. Their energy should be high. This is a great text. Because it does look like I'm not a therapist. Okay. I'm not going to sit here and read body language and get into all that. But it is shocking for the fact that they had 2 series to open up at Petco Park, how uninterested they looked in the season starting. And I mean, we were down there at a sidebar. The city is on fire. The city was so excited for Padres baseball. And, it's exciting when Mason Miller comes out in the bullpen, but the bats just don't look there. It's like, what were they doing all spring training? And again, I keep going back to this. The WBC, historically, it has been that it takes a while for batters to catch up to pitching. Just because pitchers work up earlier in spring training and they're getting used to kind of seeing those pitches. Well, in the WBC, the guys who are struggling for the Padres, Machado, Tatis, and Bogarts, were all seeing elite level pitching because they were playing, quote, competitive baseball a month ago. So there's really no reason why they shouldn't be up here with a lot of energy. And so to 619's point, I agree. Their energy has not been there, and you can just see it at the plate. It's like it's becoming a narrative that they can't hit the ball, and that's unfortunately what's playing out right now. 602. Michael King should be pissed about today. And yes, I'm irked that there's no life in that dugout. If Wind of April and this team still can't hit and has no life, then yes, time to worry. I agree. The Michael King point, he should be irked. Just like, by the way, Walker Buehler should be irked. And we can get into, was he hanging some of his stuff and all things like that? Yes. But these guys gave you enough to where you should be able to get wins. Michael King should have got a win today. Walker Buehler on Monday night should have got a win. The only two games you can point to this season where the Padres starting pitchers have just as equal part as the hitters as to why they lost was game 1 against the Tigers with Pivetta, and then the game this week with German Marquez. Besides that, this is really on the bats. 858 jumping in. What hit worse, the Lakers blowout loss last night or the Padres continued baloney bats? So again, I wasn't expecting the Padres to play so bad today and then change the whole show plan. I was going to come on here and absolutely eviscerate the Lakers for that performance last night. I'm going to say the Lakers because the Lakers let us know on the world stage last night with everyone watching that they are not only not on the Thunder's level, not even close to the Thunder's level. And it was pretty pathetic. I mean, that offense last night, Austin Reeves had 3 turnovers in the first 2 minutes of the game. How do you explain that? I mean, I'm driving up to a casino to watch the game, and I'm on the radio. I'm like, turn the ball over again. Lou Dort's hitting corner threes. The only player in the positive plus minus last night for the Lake Show was Jared Vanderbilt at +2. When that happens, not usually a lot of Laker success. So I will go with the Lakers, but yes, Lakers and Padres, both very frustrating right now. All right, coming up next, I believe John Schaefer is stopping in a little bit early today, but stay on by. John will be jumping in the hot seat. Keep on listening. Again, send us your text 70470. Start your message with team or call us 877-767-4760. Is it time to panic for the Pods? Coming up next on San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. You see him on the stream. John Schaefer, the man coming up next. Schaefer and Sliwa. John, thank you for jumping in today, dude.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be back at the 2:00 hour. It's been about a work week.
It took you only 4 days to come on back.
Yeah, it's good to be here, man. No, I was just hanging out with Sliwa, somewhere here in iHeart. I don't even know where, but getting ready for our show. And looking forward to catching up with you.
Are you... So we've been taking some calls on the Padres, and again, call us. Is it time to panic? 877-767-4760. Again, 877-767-4760.
Would you say it's time for everyone to panic?
Excellent, Brent. Would love to hear you guys' thoughts. Today was disappointing. Like watching that game in the sense of, I know it's one game. I know we can sit here and go, it's a weekend of the season, and it is. And they have all the time in the world to change this, but when your 2 runs really only come off of Miguel Andujar that should have been a fly out to the outfield, they missed the ball.
Right, like a sun ball.
Sun ball. It's just Michael King played well enough. Some of our texters were saying it to win that game, and the bats are not coming through. And I don't know what fixes that.
You know what's frustrating, and you're 100% right. I mean, you could go anywhere here, and we will take calls as well if you want to weigh in right now. 877-767-4760. What's frustrating, Sammy, to me is it's predictable. Because I went into the Giants series saying, good spot for the Giants. And guess what it was? But again, that's on the Padres. Like, it's easy to see this. And then you say, the Red Sox have lost 5 straight. It's their home opener. Good spot for the Red Sox. And that's how it plays out. Like, you have to be the one, I have to be careful I say this, to buck that trend.
Yes. Yep.
That's on you. And this offense through 7 games, and I do think this is fair to say, forget about the early thing. This offense for 7 games has been awful. I don't care if these 7 games are July 1st through the 7th. I'd say the offense from July 1st through the 7th has been awful. It has been truly anemic to score 21 runs in 7 games. They've had 1 game they've scored more than 3 runs. So it goes back to what we said probably heading into 2 days ago when they were 1-4. Wake up. The season obviously isn't on life support. Nothing's over.
Right.
But it's time to get going. It feels like everyone else has like changed their gear and you're still like in neutral for whatever reason.
It's even... the Dodgers couldn't hit the baseball the last week. They woke up today against the Nationals. And I know the Dodgers are a kind of a different team and that they're the favorites, but the Diamondbacks get swept by the Dodgers off the front. Mm-hmm. They're having a pretty good week. The Giants look horrible against the Yankees, come down to San Diego, and the offense kind of comes to life. And they had scored 1 run through the first 3 games of the season. So to your point about waking up, it is like, there's no excuses. And I think if we would have not seen the scores of these Padre games and just looked at how the starting pitchers have done the first week of the season, outside of Nick Pivetta game 1 and the German Marquez start, the Padres pitching staff really hasn't blown a game. The starting pitching staff. Now, Estrada last week on the Friday night, Peralta today obviously gave up that blast, but outside of the starting pitchers, outside of Pivetta in game 1 and German Marquez, they really haven't given it away. And that was a big concern heading into the season. Mm-hmm. And yet a lot of these games, if you would have said, hey, the Padres are only giving up 3 runs on Monday at home to the Giants, I would have said they won. And then the bats aren't coming through.
Got to win those games 100%. It's like the threshold typically in baseball, we say it more with the Padres because their ballpark is built for pitching. When you score 4 runs, you're going to win. And when you score, when you allow 4 runs, you might lose. But when you allow 3 runs or fewer, you need to win at a really good clip. Again, we don't yet have that sample size, but I'm with you. Like when you're allowing 3 or fewer runs, you need to win. And even here today, it's like you get back even in a game and you were fortunate to do it, right? Because of the circumstances that played out in that inning. And then Campy had his first hit since like the Reagan administration. And then they didn't have another hit the rest of the game. That Campy hit off the wall at Fenway like forever ago in the 5th inning was their last hit. Their last base runner came with 2 outs in the 9th inning, and that was a walk. That was their only base runner after the Campy hits. They're just not good enough. You're not facing Tariq Skubal today. You're facing Sonny Gray, and you got to be better than you were, and maybe they will. But Randy Vasquez tomorrow, he was awesome his first time out. This can change over the course of a day or 2, but it can go in the other direction too.
Text line sharing some thoughts. 760 panicking about the Padres would require me to care about the Padres. Those guys are so weak, not showing an effort, giving millions of dollars a year. frankly blunt, but certainly through the first week or so of the season, haven't seen a lot of life from the team. Another 619 number. No one will admit this publicly, but the central problem is Manny. He's not the leader this team needs, and Tatis is too emotional. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, no, anytime the conversation comes down to money, I'm always going to balk at that. It has nothing to do with money. Oh, they're paid so much. How can they lose? Well, there's always going to be teams that win and teams that lose. And the teams that lose also have players that are getting paid a lot of money, right? It's not just because they're getting paid a lot of money. You need to win. If it was that simple, the Mets would be really good every year. And it's not as simple as that. But I mean, clearly nobody would be happy with the way they've played probably in that clubhouse. Like it isn't good enough. I don't care if Manny makes $3 million or $30 million. His play hasn't been good enough so far. Same thing with Fernando Tatis Jr. You can go up and down the lineup. I know it's only 7 games. No one has hit for this entire team other than Ramon Laureano. I mean, no one. Gavin Sheets has been better the last couple of days.
Merrill's been okay.
Yeah, it's concerning. I mean, it's not like so concerning that it can't be, recovered from, but it's absolutely concerning. And you can dig a hole quick. I mean, you lose the series in Boston. What's the record right now? They're 2-5. You're 3-6. If you go 1-1 the next 2 days, you go to Pittsburgh. They just called up the top prospect in the sport. They're playing in front of a sellout today. I think it's their home opener now, though. You lose the series there. All of a sudden, you're 4-8. You get the point. Like at some point, you're going to have to wake up sooner rather than later. They're fully capable of doing that. I don't think this is who they are. I just feel like they don't yet know who they are this year.
It is. I was joking with Brent. I mean, again, it's early and they're better than the Rockies, but it's never great when you're looking up at the Rockies in the NL West standings at any point in the regular season. And I'm with you. It's early. They can fix this whole thing. But when we look at last year, the 14-3 start basically got them to the postseason. I mean, they were right below 500 baseball, about 500 baseball the rest of the way through. And them squeaking in the postseason was really about that. And it just feels like if they're not going to hit now, are they going to make themselves have to play such elite baseball down the stretch? And they have the ability to do that. Certainly we've seen them do it over chunks of time, just as evidence as last year, starting off the season where they were fantastic. But are they going to put themselves in a hole to where it's like you have to go on a crazy push? And do they have the prospects to go make some moves at the deadline like they did last year? Because that has kind of been a concern for them.
Yeah, I mean, these are all interesting points. I mean, who will own the team, once we get towards the deadline? Will that free up some cash for them to potentially use on this roster? Could they still address the rotation, for example, with available free agents well before even the trade deadline? Plus, they have some critical pieces that are out. Jason Adam, for example, in their bullpen is going to be a critical piece. But the issue I would say about having this elite bullpen is what we've always talked about. It's not serving you any good when you're trailing in games. And they've trailed a lot, obviously, to start this year. And also the strings that Craig Stammen has been pulling have not worked out of his bullpen. He goes to Wandy Peralta in a 1-run game today. 1 pitch later, it's 5-2. So he hasn't had the magic touch that sometimes Mike Schilt, I think, did have over the last 2 years. Now, again, maybe that will play out over the next 155 games and it will be figured out. But it has not been as bad as the team has been. And the team's been bad. Craig Stammen's had a bad week. Because again, some of that is coincidental, maybe. Like team's not playing well, therefore the manager doesn't look good. Some of the moves he's made haven't gone well, but some of that is on the team as well. But he has, it's felt to me like he's been a little bit overmatched, like the game has gone quick for him. Completely expected. He never hadn't managed in Little League, let alone the major league. So there's a lot of question marks, unfortunately. I mean, who would have ever envisioned that? 7 games into the season, I didn't think it would play out like this.
Are you surprised that they kind of went to the B team bullpen today when it was still a game up in the air at 3-2?
Coming off a day off yesterday. Yeah, I mean, sometimes when you're trailing, your first reliever in isn't going to be, one of your top 2 available arms, let's say, other than your closer. Maybe it's like your third best arm. It's a lefty on lefty spot, by the way, that they get beat on as well. So I think they probably like that. That's happened twice now to Peralta, where he's been beaten a lefty on lefty spot. McGonigal with Detroit, I want to say, in a really lengthy at bat. And then today against Marcelo Meyer. And see, that's not, it's not obviously fully on Craig Stammen, but you could also argue, why is Michael King coming out of the game at 81 pitches with 2 outs in the inning? Now, he'd allowed a solo home run. you're kind of damned either way. If King stays in there and allows the 2-run home run, why didn't you go to Peralta?
Yeah.
If Peralta comes in and allows the 2-run home run, why didn't you allow King to stay?
I was also surprised that Marinaccio was getting going. It's like it just the fact that it felt like Craig Stammen gave up on the game so fast, in that he was kind of telling you something about he didn't necessarily believe in the team's offense to get it back
into the game.
Because when it's 3-2, you're thinking with the bats this team has, I mean, you should be able to come back from that, even if you're on the road. And the fact that you're immediately going to Peralta, then Marinaccio, like this is, you didn't bring in the big guys. You didn't bring in Morahone and Savin Miller. Like I guess we could be coming on here killing him for using all those guys up when they're losing in a game.
Yep.
But to the point you made, if it doesn't matter if you have a great bullpen, if you're not having a lead.
And there's the fine line between, if you use your A team today and you lose, what happens tomorrow when you have a lead? Are you going back to those same relievers? That's the fine line that they're walking, especially on the first or second day of April or whatever today is, April 3rd. I mean, you probably don't want to go to your high leverage guys back to back to back. So they don't do it today because they're trailing. So yeah, I mean, it's just, he's not pushing the right buttons. He's not pulling the right strings, whatever it is. The team isn't playing well. It's added up to 2-5. Truthfully, it hasn't even felt that good. I'm surprised they have 2 wins based on what we're saying and what we're seeing. It could theoretically maybe be a game worse than this, but maybe not. I mean, the games they won, they should have won. Vasquez and then the game 2 days ago. But no, it's been a really disappointing week. That's for sure.
Frustrating start to the Padres season so far. Coming up next, we already have half the crossover. That's with John Schaefer. Alan Slewa will be joining on the other side to preview Schaefer and Slewa coming up next here in about 15 minutes. Stay tuned. Going long. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Welcome back to Going Long, closing this thing out. Before we hand it off to Schaefer and Sliwa, we got a little crossover action happening here. Alan Sliwa is missing in action, so it's half the crossover. It's John Schaefer.
Yeah, he's in the area because I was with him, 15 minutes ago. I know he's around. You were with him last night.
Yep.
Right?
Yes,
he was doing an event and
watching the Lakers. Sadly, horrible performance from the Lake Show.
Yeah, it's funny how like for 24 hours people are like, oh, the Lakers might be a contender in the West, and then I was watching it because my wife's a diehard OKC Thunder fan for whatever reason, and it was like 10-0, 16-4, 30-10, 50-20, 60. It was crazy.
They were never even in the game. Like usually when there's a blowout in the NBA, there's at least 6 minutes of the game where it's close or a quarter. It was 16-4. Reeves had 3 turnovers in the first 2 minutes of the game. I mean, I don't even know how to break it down. They got beat so bad.
There's nothing to break down. And then the insult to injury, obviously, Luka goes out. Why is he even in the game? You're down 40 points in the third quarter.
Right. Reeves is a back injury, so still wait on the MRI for Luka Doncic, which will be a big thing. But you kind of pointed this out yesterday. The Thunder, the Lakers had everything to prove, and that, hey, we're trying to prove that we are in the category with the Spurs, the Celtics, and the Thunder. I think those are the 3 teams that you look at as kind of a cut above everyone else. But the Thunder also had a lot to prove. The Thunder, I mean, a lot of people, including myself, still point to the fact that if Halliburton doesn't get hurt in Game 7 last year, who knows if they even win a championship. And it feels like through the first, most of the season, 90% of the season, they've been coasting a little bit. Winning 61 games, but not looking like quite the same team that they were a year ago. And then you see when it's go time and they're trying to prove a point and prove that SGA is an MVP over Luka, you see the difference in talent gap between the Lakers and the Thunder.
I feel like it's what great teams do. Like there have been regular seasons where the Chiefs have looked pedestrian and won a Super Bowl. There have been regular seasons in baseball. I mean, up the freeway, the Dodgers did not have their best regular season last year, but they turn it on when it matters. I mean, this is kind of the difference between some of these teams. We'll probably talk about it today. Like Oklahoma City or the Field is an interesting question. Oklahoma City is really, really good. I don't think they're historically good.
Yeah.
Certainly, but the regular seasons are different today. They just are with load management and also putting your best foot forward in the postseason. It's like, would you rather win 61 games and win a finals? This is an easy answer. Or win 66 games and not? Everyone knows you'd rather win 61.
Yeah.
They'll win more than 61, by the way. They still have 5 games remaining. At worst, they'll win, let's say, 64 games this year. So they're going to have a great regular season, and they're going to have as good of a shot as anyone. And they are young, obviously, with players that are under control. I think.
Oh, yeah. SGA, Chet, Williams, they're all there for like a 4 or 5 year deal.
You might be looking at a situation where like you get 3-4, 4-6, or 2-3. It's pretty formidable, and I don't think it's really going away.
Are you buying? Because a lot of people are picking the Spurs over them as the team.
Spurs haven't played a playoff game since the Reagan administration. Nothing has happened since the 80s, apparently. You know what I mean? Like Victor Wembanyama is this unbelievable freak of nature, and I think his team is really good. They've been awesome. But the postseason basketball is different. I think most people agree with that. It's not to say you have to have all the experience in the world, but I think experience does matter.
In the adjustments to postseason basketball from one game to the next.
The last time in was 2018. The San Antonio Spurs. That is incredible, isn't it? That's a proud franchise. Unbelievable. And everyone makes the playoffs.
Well, because it felt like every year with Tony Parker and Duncan and Manu, they were just there.
2018. That's unbelievable to me.
I feel like the Celtics are the one team, because of the fact they've been there before, they play just as good a defense as Oklahoma City, and to have 2 stars in Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum.
Yep.
Who can get after it and can match that elite level scoring. Because you just saw the difference last time between the Lakers and the Thunder. The Thunder have guys like Lou Dort and Cason Wallace.
They were great.
And like Caruso, guys like that who are role players who don't even get talked about and are big factors into why they win. And the Lakers don't. The Lakers don't have that. I mean, Jared Vanderbilt is a good point of attack defender. He is so limited offensively. Marcus Smart doesn't play last night. And so then it's on LeBron, Luka, and Reeves to have exceptional nights against these elite level teams, defensive teams. And you can't rely on that. You can't rely on that in a playoff series against elite level competition to think that that's going to change every night.
And then there's, the other game that was playing out last night, this Clippers Spurs game. Spurs didn't even have Wemby. I mean, it was a load management situation. And they beat the Clippers by 20. which I thought was alone impressive. The Clippers have played. The Clippers have been interesting to me. I've really been fascinated by the Clippers. They start 6-21.
Yep.
They obviously get going to the point where they're over 500 right now. I mean, they're 39-38 from 6-21.
And they changed it complete. By the way, welcome in, Alan Sleewa.
What's up, Alan?
What's up, dude?
She was all over me.
Oh, really?
So I couldn't go anywhere. Am I on?
Yeah, you are.
You're on.
You are.
So she laid into me and just basically
Did she blame the Lakers loss on you or the Padres loss?
Padres loss. Yeah, Padres loss was completely on me.
Your bullpen management is not
actually,
good.
I think what she said, she was like, I kind of feel like John was Michael King, keep him in, and then I was Peralta.
You were Wandy
First
Peralta.
pitch.
Yeah.
Or were you Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr.?
The
lack of bats.
We shouldn't even talk about them. Why should we talk about them? There's nothing to talk about.
They don't do anything.
They don't do exactly my point. They don't do anything.
People
How are you guys doing? What's going on?
Doing good. We were
Talked about a
rehashing
little bit of everything.
Yeah, a little Padres, little Lakers. You brought up the point.
Are we out? Are all our topics out?
Yeah, basically. We've covered the show.
Did we shoot every shot that we had?
No, I don't think so. Just most of them.
You guys came here. It's like Schaefer already took 7 threes. We're not even in the first quarter.
Yeah, we're down 21-0.
Schaefer
I've taken 7 threes.
Schaefer's had 30 minutes of great takes.
Yeah, it's been really good.
It's been fantastic.
Really good.
Even the text line is just blowing up. Like, this is John's greatest takes we've ever heard.
To your point, though, John, you walked in.
I'm very much on Team Clippers in general in terms of I think they've played really good basketball, but
they have.
The problem is there's no ceiling because what are they going to be? The 8th seed in the best case scenario or a 7th seed?
And they're interesting. You bringing them up because
who do they have? Will they have Phoenix? Will they play Phoenix?
They'll play Phoenix, and they're the opposite of the Warriors. Like the Warriors keep getting older. Curry, Draymond.
Oh yeah.
You acquire Jimmy Butler. Oh, you trade Kuminga.
They're literally their youngest, most talented guy. They wanted nothing to do with.
Nothing to do with a 23-year-old potential superstar. They don't want anything to do with. And the Clippers move off Harden, move off all these kind of older. Norman Powell was younger.
Garland's 10 years younger.
Darius Garland and Benedict Mathurin now are two guys to build around for the future when Kawhi's gone. I wouldn't be surprised if Kawhi's gone in the offseason. I genuinely would not be if they're trying to break in. They already broke in the arena.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just turn the franchise over?
Yeah. Their biggest issue is you're trying to draw attention. You went out there and let's just say this, Steve Ballmer will be okay financially. I think he'll be okay.
Yeah, he's going to be all right.
Even for everything that he's done. But they try to, part of their, thought process was sell seats, new stadium, all that stuff. At some point, the idea is to win. And if they're going to churn any heads in Los Angeles or anywhere, you got to win. And they still have never been to an NBA Finals. So, yeah, I mean, I'm jumping into whatever conversation you guys are talking about. I'll tell you right
it's
now.
It's going to be a run.
This definitely ain't the year.
This is the year.
And by the way, the entire NBA, I don't know if you're going to get somebody else coming out of the West between two teams over the next 6-7 years. I mean, the two up top are
you don't
stupid.
see a Phoenix who's 7th in the East. You don't see a Phoenix
Sixers.
Charlotte finals this year?
Charlotte's playing good
Phoenix.
ball. Oh, that'd be exciting.
And it'd be big ratings. Charlotte, Phoenix, huge
on
ratings.
NBA TV.
On NBA TV.
Can we ask you a favor? Because we come in for the final segment of your show.
Yeah.
Can you come in for the final segment of our show?
Yeah, come back at 5:50.
No. I will call in from my couch.
How about that? How awful would that be? Hey, you just got to return the favor.
Hang out in the building.
Got to return the favor.
All right. Well, I was going to ask you if you won any money last night, but since we're out of time here, I will. You boys coming up next. Everyone have a great weekend. Tune in next week.
Go work, Sammy.
Fletch and I starting at 12 o'clock.
Oh, wait, real quick. Will Fleming, voice of the Red Sox, will join us in 10 minutes on the other side.
All right.
Will Fleming, voice of the Red Sox.
Stay tuned for that. See everybody tomorrow or Monday.